Hello, morning.
All right, good. All right. Now I can go on mute.
Good morning, everyone. 9 o'clock. Welcome to the full council meeting for May. Calling this meeting to order. Glad you all could be here. We will start with the roll call. Tony,
Good
are you able?
morning. Lisa Liss. She must be on mute. Okay. I know she's here. She just spoke. Allie Friedrich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Animesh.
Yes, sir.
Tony Taylor. Here. Rachel Baskerville.
Here.
Alan Haas. Andrea Weisenborn. I'm sorry, my apologies. Andrea
Here.
Weisenborn.
Here.
Very good. Ashley Showalter. Ashley, are you on mute? Okay. Colette. Connie Roth. Heather Pugh. Jelani.
Present.
Jordana. Kim Wright. Okay, no Kim. Leandra.
Here.
Lisa Crandall.
Good morning. This is Lisa Crandall.
Good morning. Lisa Nothouse.
Good morning, all. I am here.
Nadia is here. Sang Yil.
I'm here.
Scott Steelman.
Here.
Steve Hodge.
Here.
Okay. Any guests that would like to introduce themselves?
Good morning. My name is Michael Cross. I'm one of the guests. Just found out that my email.
Okay. Welcome. Any other guests? Okay. Madam Chair,
Colette just hopped on.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chair, we do have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Next is online packet. Good morning, everyone. All right. Good. Okay. You will log into MODDC, moddcouncil.org. It will bring up our website. You will go to member login. Once there, you'll see where it says council members login, and you'll put in your password, which is change is good 1. This will bring up your members only portal where you can find your roster with everyone's name, their email addresses. If you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see where the committee meetings are and the full council meetings. So full council meetings, click on May. And these will be all of the documents you will need for the meeting today. If you look over to the right, you'll see supplemental information, our policies, our state plan, legislation, which is being updated, DD Act, and so forth, anything that you would need related to the council. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
Hi, Emily, or I'm sorry, I'm not sure who's talking. This is April Nixon. Can you guys hear me? So I was invited to learn more about what the council does. I'm not like officially on the council. Do I have a login or am I just here to kind of observe today?
Welcome, April. We're glad you're here. You will just listen in
Okay.
to kind of what's going on so you get an idea of what happens. And this is the full council meeting. So
Okay.
it's here on Fridays.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Next, we have public comment. Do we have any public comment? Okay, I see no public comment. Next, Emily is going to give us the executive director's report.
Good morning, everyone. We've had a busy couple months. The executive director's report can be found on the members portal, and I will add a couple details that have happened since the document was finalized and today. So under federal requirements, we did have your proposed 5-year state plan out for public comment. We were required to do that for 45 days. We received about 35 comments. And so the public comment period is now complete, and we are working towards work plans, which we'll talk about later today. Effective council body. Many of you know that Department of Mental Health, or DMH, is our designated state agency, or our DSA. So they help us with administrative duties. They help us get our federal funds into our account, all of that good stuff. So we should have a memorandum of understanding between the council and DMH. And we are still in process of trying to get that signed. I've been working with procurement since July of 2025, so it's still under review.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. The screen is blank or black. Are you sharing something?
No, I'm not sharing anything.
Because I don't see anything. MODDC Council, it's total black. Okay. All right. Okay.
There we go. Okay. Also, another update for people that maybe are newer to the council, we had a past grantee, Kat Cunningham, that received council funding for an employment-related project. And it was later discovered that she was embezzling federal funds, not just from the council, but from other entities as well. So she was prosecuted for that, and she has her sentencing hearing early September. So I'll keep you updated as that moves forward. In terms of budget, the president released his presidential budget a little bit ago, and the DD Council looks level funded in that budget. The P&As in terms of the DD Act funding looks good. The missing piece is the USAID funding, or UMKC IHD. The president's budget still does not reflect USAID funding. So similar to last year, there will be some advocacy around that to make sure that our DD Act partners are intact by the time the federal budget gets through. We did receive a notice of award on April 13th. So you might remember we received a little bit of money back in December, and then we received a larger chunk of money in April. So we anticipate having level funding, which means the same amount of money that we had last year. The notice of awards that we've received to date are about 9,000 short of level funding. And that's pretty typical. The Administration for Community Living, or ACL, sometimes will hold back funding just in case they need to do some administrative stuff on their end, like make a new reporting system or something like that. Our funds that are appropriated to us go to ACL to help support that. So we do expect that $9,000, if ACL doesn't use it, will be appropriated to us through another notice of award closer to the end of the federal fiscal year. We also have a spending authority approved through the state legislature. So we go through the Department of Mental Health's budget to tell the state, we expect to spend this much money. This is how much money we need to process in this next year. And then the legislature approves that. We did see a reduction of our spending authority by $500,000. And that's okay, because the reason we had an extra $500,000 was because during COVID, we had what we call no-cost extensions, where we kept our money a little bit longer, and then we also kept receiving money. So we needed a larger amount of spending authority at that time, but we do not currently need that much spending authority based on our appropriations. Project updates. The one that's kind of on crunch time is the Partners Conference, which is in July here in Jefferson City. So I'm working with Courtney Leader, who is our contractor, to help coordinate that. So we're working quickly to get every information out to everybody and get registration and everything set up. Under collaboration, I'm going to focus a little bit on the 504 final rule lawsuit. So we've talked about that several times with the council. Missouri is one of a couple different other states that are on this lawsuit that says, you know, we don't want the final rule for Section 504, which the council's position is a little bit different, and Sangil will talk about that a little bit later because we're looking for some approval on a statement regarding that lawsuit. But we are engaged with the Attorney General's office, the governor's office, provider agencies, Department of Mental Health, some nonprofits to help kind of coordinate messaging around that and to get some advocacy. There has been some movement on that with a couple of states, 2 states in particular, that have dropped off recently of the lawsuit. So it's just kind of something that we're going to have to keep working on until we get some resolution. And also under collaboration, we have been working with MoHealthNet and the Medicaid Audit Unit. So MMAC is the acronym for that. And we've been talking about Medicaid fraud and what that means for beneficiaries in particular, right? So family members or self-advocates that are using self-directed services. You know, what about provider agencies that are billing for services provided to someone, but the families or individual doesn't know what's being billed. So we've been talking about possibly piloting an explanation of benefits in plain language. So we're working through that. Animesh and Colette are helping to keep that on track. Under general, I'll say that I did sign on to a letter of support for St. Louis University, who has applied for some foundation funding under the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. This is a really cool opportunity because one of the professors is actually a Partners graduate. So they're the ones that she's the one that's really spearheading this and trying to bring $420,000 for this grant to the state of Missouri, and they will be looking at employment and neurodiversity and kind of what the employment barriers are, what could help improve employment outcomes for a neurodivergent population, and all that good stuff. So they just submitted that this week. We hope to hear something mid to late June, and then a final award notice in January. My updates regarding committees and boards, this isn't on the document, but it's kind of a recent development. I've been on the National Association for Councils Councils of Developmental Disabilities for 4 or 6 years now. So I have one more 2-year term that I can do, or a council member can apply to be on the national board. So I'm working with Allie to see if that's a move that she wants to take on. I think she has the credentials, having been past secretary, chair-elect. Obviously, she's just really good at doing the council work. So we're working through that. So either Allie will be applying for that board position or I will. And we'll just see how it lands. I think the vote will be in July. Any questions for me?
Colette, go ahead, please.
Hi, this is Colette. Emily, I had a question around the report. Did you say that was that I'm sorry, I'm in transit still. Was that a council staff or was that a council agency partner that you mentioned has something coming up in September? A former staff.
Are you talking about the St. Louis University application, Colette?
No, back earlier in your updates. I apologize. You mentioned there was maybe something improper occurred. Or maybe I misheard. That's why I may have misheard. So that's why I'm
Sorry.
asking. I want
Yes.
to make sure I hear properly.
Yes. Kat Cunningham was a past grantee. I can't remember what the business name was. Business Leadership More Source or something. You can look up Kat Cunningham and she'll come up in the news in Jefferson City. But she had some of our funding and did not use it correctly. So it's part of her fraud charge.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it was more source.
Any other questions for Emily regarding her report? Okay. Next is chair report. That's me. I would like to appoint Steve to LPP. Yay, congratulations. I know he'll do great work there. He was on the meeting yesterday contributing, so glad we got that going. The other thing is, one of the things we did yesterday was review the public comments for the state plan. We're doing that for full council later on this afternoon, I believe. So you'll hear more about that. I think that is all I have. Any questions for me? Okay, treasurer's report, Animesh.
All right. Wow. Thank you for putting that screen up. So as part of the treasurer's report, we got awarded $1.34 million. And as Emily mentioned in her report, that's $9,000 below the level funding, but that's expected and it might come back if ACL doesn't use that through the another award letter. Of the $1.34 million, I mean, operational budget is 1.04. That leaves the project total to roughly around $300,000. And the project funding that has been invoiced so far is $24,600. That leaves the balance of the project funding that needs to be invoiced to be $274,614. So this is, I mean, at this point, the status of our budget. And that's my update. One more thing, we have the Coffee for Change, a new initiative by the council coming up on June 3rd at Perryville. I believe that's being co-hosted by our own Ali. So if anybody in that area or can be in that area, feel free to join that Coffee for Change. I mean, that's going to be a great starting conversation for the council and kind of get the feedback from the stakeholders. So thank you very much, everyone.
It's going to be a party in Perryville.
Of course.
Be there or be square. That'll be seriously that'll be the first Coffee for Change, and then we're going to start doing around the state. So it should be great. Any questions for Animesh on the treasurer's report?
No questions. All right, good news. All right, thanks, Lisa.
Next is going to be the end of session update from Christina.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me on there? Yeah, okay. Tony's going to help me out a little bit, but real quickly, because we did a deep dive in LPP yesterday, so we're probably not going to go to that level of detail. But if you're interested in the end of legislative session update, that is a document on members only in the LPP area, and you are all welcome to access it. But just to give you some sort of high level details, as you all know, I believe by this point, the governor had suggested that rates to certain DD services were to be cut through the House and Senate, and a lot of advocacy by many of you and many others. Those rates were restored by the legislature. Now we need to see what the governor will do and if he will line item veto or move on with what the legislature has recommended, which we hope is the case. So stay tuned on that. There are some other bills we followed, most of which did not make it across the finish line, but 2 did yesterday. So I feel like we all need a little good news sometimes. And one was the bill was for a purple alert system for people with IDD, kind of like an Amber Alert, so that if someone goes missing, now we'll have a better way of letting other people know to help look for them. But attached to that bill as well was a bill that our policy fellow was working on for SSPs, or support service providers. And they are like PAs, but they're very trained to help deaf, blind individuals in the community access their community. It might involve driving them somewhere, but it's also about describing their environment to them or whatever they need to know to do their daily business. So this bill lifts the funding cap that's been on it for 10 years. So although no further appropriations happened this year because they couldn't through the DESI budget, now we're on track to say to DESI, hey, this program has grown in 10 years, so it's time to fund it. And DESI seems to understand that this program is growing and the need is growing. So that's exciting. So that was attached to the Purple Alert bill. Tony, do you want to share a little bit about how to engage legislators?
Sure, absolutely. Animesh did mention the coffees that are coming up, in addition to the one in Perryville in June. I think that was June 3rd. I don't have the date right in front of me, but he just shared that. In addition, we're having one in the Kansas City area on July 10th. More details will be coming on that. Christine and I are working through that together. But yeah, all of the legislators effective later today, they're all headed home. They'll be in their areas until later this fall. I think in September they go back briefly, but then they'll be fully engaged in December. So there's a stretch there where you can reach out. We do have documents on members only with how to engage, some ideas with that. We also have a real brief kind of brochure type document that Christina created about local engagement. Some great ideas there, emails, phone calls, other things, depending on the sky. If it's clear, skywriting I don't know if you want to go to that extent, but there are several options available in that brochure. So please check the documents under LPP and members only for other ideas. So that will be my summary of that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony. Yeah, and I would say not everyone's comfortable doing everything, and that is okay, but it would be great if everyone did something. And if you're not sure, if you're one of those people kind of going, well, I don't know what to do, you can always call or email me. I'm going to be traveling around the state as much as possible this summer and into the fall. So I'm happy to meet with you, and I will be reaching out to many of you to meet. So don't feel like you all have to do it today when you're not feeling comfortable, but we do want everyone really engaging with legislators because it truly is a year-round advocacy effort. It's not just December to May when they're running around too, right? So building the relationships is key now. If anyone else is interested in doing a coffee, I know Scott volunteered yesterday, Springfield, so we might rope in Jelani and some others, but we do it by location, and we want council members to lead them. So I'll be reaching out. And then Nadia and Andrea and Steve have also said that they're interested. So we'll get those going too. Yeah, Animesh.
Yeah, so just wanted to kind of reiterate one of the points that you made about the budget, and that right now it's at governor's desk for signing, and assuming everything goes well and it will be done. But coming back to the advocacy point, as you mentioned, I mean, this is not a one-time effort. This is ongoing because the next year's budget will immediately start, and we'll again have to kind of do the same effort, same advocacy, because we never know what will happen next year. Maybe they will propose some cuts next year. So we'll have to be on our toes all the time. And so this is for the wider audience, that we can't lower our guard and continue to push for the advocacy at any and every occasion that we get, whether that's at a coffee for change, meeting the legislator in their office or home office, wherever. But we need to keep that going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is people getting to know us as parents, as people with lived experience, as self-advocates, because very few legislators run on our issues, right? So we have to get in there and educate them quickly, especially with term limits, or they kind of lose the thread on who we are and what we're about. Yeah. So even just connecting and becoming friendly with your legislator can be very powerful, even if you don't get into the policy details just yet. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for Christina or Tony? Okay, thanks for that. Next, we're going to discuss the 504 lawsuit statement, which you all should have received to be able to review. And Saniel is going to walk us through that.
Hi. The Homestead Committee has been learning about this Texas versus Kennedy, we call so-called Section 504 lawsuit. Catherine sent everybody a summary about the case, and in the email and video, along with the draft, the Homestead Committee is sharing with the full council to approve as MODDC public statements about this lawsuit. Right now the statement that we sent to you is on the screen. The Olmsted Committee believes it is important to educate people about the lawsuit and release the statement to the public. So it is important to educate everyone about the lawsuit and let people know how they might be advocate if they choose to do so. And if Missouri does not withdraw from the lawsuit, it could negatively impact people with disabilities and their rights to community living and getting services in the most integrated setting possible. When the amended lawsuit began, Missouri was one of the 9 states beginning the lawsuits. Through the strong advocacy, Indiana and the South Dakota have already withdrawn from this lawsuit, so that's very good. So now Missouri is one of the 7 states involved. The Olmsted Committee met last week, hoping to have this approved statement recommended to full council, but we did not have a quorum, so we could not approve the recommendation for the full council. So today I like to know if anyone has comments on the edits to the public statement. If not, I'd like to ask you to make a motion to approve the MODDC statements for on this lawsuit, Texas versus Kennedy, 504, Section 504. So anybody wants have any comments on this?
Hey, Sangil, this is Anish.
Jelani, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just looking at the last sentence in the first paragraph. It says, if the lawsuit is successful, it might negatively impact Missourians with disabilities and their right to live and receive services in their own communities. I mean, this is my opinion. I think it would definitely negatively impact. I might just get rid of the word might. I mean, I don't know if that you feel like that's too strong of a position to take on it, but I don't think there's any doubt it would negatively impact Missourians with disabilities. I don't know if anyone has an opinion on that, but that's my position on it.
Yeah, Tony said to make it into a will instead of might. And I agree with the Tony's and Jelani's opinion. Or might change it to not to might to will, so it will impact negatively for sure. Any other opinions? Or Madam Chair, can you ask if anyone to make a motion to approve this comment public letter?
I'm so sorry. I have not seen a motion yet. Is anybody ready to make a motion to approve this statement as written?
I have a comment. Can I make a comment right now?
And
Go ahead, Animesh.
Yeah. So again, on this one, so Jilani was, I mean, rightly said, this will definitely impact. And similarly, MODDC believes versus this is our suggestion. Do we want to say believe, or MODDC suggests that people with disability should have fulfilled something? This is MODDC's position, right? So whether what we believe versus this is our position, this is what I suggest to do. I don't know what you guys think, but so MODDC suggests believing. I mean, it's again, I think in my sense, it's kind of a little bit more watered down version. It's kind of, yeah, we believe, but if you don't believe, then don't do it. Kind of, hey, this is what I suggest you to do. That people with disabilities should not be separated, should be a priority, should keep the new section 504 rule.
Animesh, this is Christina. Oh, sorry, I didn't wait to be called on. I'm sorry, Lisa. But just real quickly, we have to be careful how we word things because this could cross very much into lobbying. Now, that doesn't mean that when we send out an action alert with this verbiage that people of their own volition may change the wording, but and it's not exactly like this in the action alert because it needs to make sense, right? But I hear you. I think, though, the belief statement really protects us from saying, like, this is our core belief. We're not neutral on this issue, but we're not saying you have to do this, right? That you have to drop off. So we have to we have to walk that line a little bit.
Yeah, that lobbying thing is kind of a fine line.
It is.
Okay.
Tony?
Can we use the wording MODDC position there, like Animesh suggested, or is the word position not an effective word for that header?
To you, yeah, as a council.
Hey, go ahead.
What about the word recommend?
She said, what about the word recommends? I think is that the same as asking, making an ask? Okay.
This is Emily. I mean, I think we can say MODDC's position is, I mean, it's the last bullet that really would be sensitive to lobbying. So MODDC's position is that the court should keep the new section 504 rule. So that's clear that that's our position, but we're not telling any elected official what to do.
Animesh, do you have something else?
No, I think, yeah, they should clarify. This is our position. Yeah. That is more stronger than I think believe. Yeah. Okay. MODDC.
Okay, so if there's no other comments, there's nothing in the chat.
I would like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the MODDC statement for the Texas v. Kennedy lawsuit.
Thank
I
you, Tom.
second that.
Okay.
The first was Tony and second Animesh.
Okay. Allie?
Approve.
Animesh?
Approve.
Tony? Approve. Rachel?
Approve.
Alan is absent. Andrea?
Approved.
Ashley is absent. Heather is absent.
Heather's here and I
Oh,
approve.
Heather's here. Oh, okay, very good. Thank you. Jelani?
Approve.
Jordana is absent. Kim is absent. Leandra?
Approve.
Lisa Crandall?
This is Lisa Crandall. I approve.
Lisa Nothouse?
I approve.
Nadia? I'm sorry, I don't have my chat up. Did Nadia approve?
Nadia said approve in the chat.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sangil?
Approve.
Scott?
Approve.
Steve Hodge?
Approve.
Okay. Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you to Saniel and Catherine and the Olmsted Committee for pulling that together. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to review it, because this is an important, timely sort of thing that we need to get moving on. And correct me if I'm wrong, Christina, will an action alert be coming out about this? Yes.
Today or this weekend?
Okay, so then it'll be on the social media. People can, okay, perfect. All right, next we are going to go to work plan training and updates with Emily.
All right, I'm going to screen share. Okay, so I can't see anybody's video. If you guys have questions, if somebody could help call them out. Okay. So I'm here to talk about work plans a little bit. We just finished the 5-year state plan that we're going to propose to ACL. So at the same time that we submit work plan or the state plan to ACL, we also have to submit work plans. So that's what we need to start working on. A little bit of background about state plans and work plans. You all know we are required to have a 5-year state plan. That's our strategic plan that helps ACL to monitor and make sure that we're staying true to the DD Act and doing our job well. We just closed the public comment on Monday, so that's finished. And then we have to submit work plans for each year of the state plan. Usually we have to submit 2 years of work plans. However, on Wednesday during a meeting, I heard that maybe we only have to submit 1 year this year. So until I see that in writing, I'm going to keep pretending like we have to do 2. The work plan tells ACL, which is our funder, how the council is going to complete the goals and objectives of our state plan. Each year, the staff, we write reports based on the progress of our work plans. We call those PPRs, or performance program performance reports. So in our plan this year in mid-August is to submit at least 2027's work plan and maybe 2028, depending on what ACL is requiring. There's a lot of information included in the work plan. It's really staff's responsibility to understand the nuance of the definitions of what's required in the work plan language. But just to kind of give the council an overview, we focus a lot on what key activities are going to happen, what the outcomes of those key activities, what we're striving to accomplish, the outputs, which are more like measurable things. So if we're talking about we want 500 people trained on advocacy this year, we would put that in our work plan. And then we also we anticipate performance measure data. Performance measures are defined by ACL. They're pretty complicated and very nuanced, but we basically have to say like how much advocacy we think is going to happen and how much systems change we think is going to happen based on how they defined performance measures. In the past, ACL has offered councils the opportunity to amend work plans if needed. So amendments really need to be big changes, small changes. We don't do amendments for. It's a big administrative lift to do amendments for the individual councils and for ACL. But I'm sharing this because if we are looking at 2028's work plan, we might not exactly know what 2028 is going to look like. So we're sort of guessing. But if we said in 2028, we wanted inclusive recreation in every county of Missouri, right? But then in 2027, we actually ended up fighting mostly for Medicaid fraud or something like that kind of pulled us away from inclusive rec. We would be able to amend that work plan if we needed to. There are a couple different ways to think about how we do the work of the council. So there are funded projects. Those are grant projects. They're contracted, right? So you guys heard from Missouri Coalition from Oral Health last meeting. They were contracted with us to do that work. We gave them the money to do it, and then they executed the contract. There's also staff-led initiatives where staff are doing the work directly. So they listen to the council's leadership in the meetings. We take your priorities, and then we implement them throughout the years. I don't know why that looks like that. That's not how it's supposed to look. I don't even, let me check the next slide. That's weird. Hold on a second. Okay. Oh, goodness. All right, so on this slide that's formatted kind of wonky, just pay attention to this table that has 3 columns. This is a breakout of what our current contracted grant projects look like under our proposed 3 goals in our new 5-year state plan. So goal 1 would have partners in policymaking. It would have the Power of Choice project, which is an alternatives to guardianship. It would have regional Olmsted work groups, and it would have Disability Rights Legislative Day. Goal 2 would have the Medicaid Advocacy Project, which we haven't awarded yet. It would have the Road Ready Project, which is a transportation project with Empower Abilities, and the Menopause Project, which we haven't released yet for applications, but once we do, that would fall under Goal 2. And Goal 3, currently we will have a contract with UMSL and UMKC for a CIE fiscal analysis project. So those are all grant projects that you guys have approved. There are some.
Emily,
Oh,
there's a question.
okay, go ahead.
Scott, go ahead.
Sorry, I was muted. I just noticed a typo. If it's supposed to say road ready,
Yeah.
it does say read ready.
Yes. Thank you for pointing that out, Scott. It should be road ready. It's a transportation project, which, yes, you should also be read ready for that. Thank you for pointing that out. When I fix the formatting on this, I'll fix that typo as well. Unfunded staff-led initiatives. There are several staff-led initiatives that would carry over to 2027 and 2028. These initiatives need to be included in our work plan. Sometimes our operational funds support these efforts too, not just our program funds. So goal 1 has the bulk of the staff-led initiatives. So the first one is Olmsted work, which in our past work plans have focused on direct support professionals or DSPs. We have survivorship task force, which used to be the victimization task force. We have inclusive recreation. We have policy, priority advocacy, and coffee for change. On the top, there are some new priorities that have been taking the bulk of staff's attention over the last year that we think will continue to take attention from staff over the next year or two. Medicaid fraud, waiver wait list, Section 504 final rule lawsuit, and the Department of Justice restraint and seclusion report. Those things were not in our work plan in the past. So we need to think about kind of prioritizing where the staff-led initiatives are going to land over the next year or two. So I'm going to break down a couple of the unfunded efforts, and most of these are Catherine's. So Catherine can answer any specific questions that you might have, but this is kind of where the discussion will start happening with the council. So the first thing is an unfunded effort on Olmsted. So that looks like direct support professionals in our work plan, publish and promote the Olmsted white paper and share stories and DSP crisis survey information with policymakers. That's been our priority in the last year or two. So I'm going to remind everyone of the 4 things that are currently taking up a lot of space of staff's work and will continue to take up space: Medicaid fraud, waiver wait list, Section 504, and DOJ report on restraint and seclusion. So this is where I would like some feedback from the council. Should the Olmsted work that's currently unfunded, that's led by Catherine, still focus on direct support professionals? Or should it shift to focus on something else like Medicaid fraud that's currently targeting in-home services, HCBS services? So I'm going to pause there for feedback.
Go ahead, Animesh.
Yeah, Emily. In my view, I think at this point we should, again, this is my view, we should pivot to the top 3, or the Medicaid fraud, Section 504, and the waiver wait list, in that order, versus the DSP. I mean, DSP, this is not saying this is going away, but we have provided, I mean, everybody knows the impact of the DSP crisis, and I think at this point, more effective would be to advocate for Section 504 the one that we said, or make sure that everybody understands the negative impacts of the Medicaid fraud audits. And just kind of that stigma attached to kind of, hey, just because somebody is using the home-based services, they are being investigated or something like that. So those kind of things, and of course the waiver wait list is something that I would put in, but that's where I would suggest to put the energy to, or the resources to.
Scott?
I think it's kind of a step-by-step process. What I mean by that is in order to have a DSP for some people, you've got to have that Medicaid. You've got to have that waiver wait list. So if we don't focus on the fraud wait list first, then we can't necessarily focus on the DSP until we have those as a priority.
Thanks, Colette. What other thoughts do people have about this? Allie?
But
She said she agrees with Scott. Any other thoughts or questions?
Okay. So what we will do is Catherine works on that work plan development, and we will bring back what Olmsted work on Medicaid fraud waitlist and 504 will look like in the July meeting. So you guys will get some clarity on what that will look like. Okay, so the next unfunded staff-led effort is also Catherine's, and that's the survivorship task force. That, like I said, that used to be the victimization task force, and she's been slowly kind of moving that over to a survivorship focus. And the efforts on that have been to identify and address differences of alleged offenders with IDD in the criminal justice system. So my question for discussion is, should this work continue to focus on the criminal justice system? If you guys need any kind of details on what that has looked like, Catherine can answer those.
Allie?
when we have a short recap from it.
So Allie, this is Catherine, and Allie asked for a short recap. So we are seeing a trend that people with developmental disabilities, they tend to be arrested more often. They tend to have greater consequences than others, and they're treated differently in the criminal justice system. And when we were doing our strategic plan, I helped kind of co-host a listening session with professionals who shared a lot of discrepancies and how people with disabilities are treated versus people who don't have disabilities in the criminal justice system. So right now, I'm simply in the process of reviewing that information, the data that was collected by the USAID during the strategic planning process, and I'm reading a whole bunch of articles and research and data. And I am connecting with people in Missouri to further learn about this issue and then try to figure out how best to fix the system so people are treated more equitably.
Shannon, can you read the comment? Lisa Nothouse says the Division of DD, Kim Buckman, has been working on the DSP crisis with recruiting high school students into DSP field. So think we should focus elsewhere, but keep an eye on the progress of the DSP initiative under the DDD. Okay. Thanks, Lisa. Does anyone have comments on this survivorship work? And Leandra?
Personally, I think it's still a good focus for the council. I know personally in my work, we actually work with our court system quite frequently and get referrals for individuals that have wound up in the legal system that have an intellectual disability. So I do feel like there is definitely more work that needs to be done. So I personally think it would be something to continue.
Lonnie?
I guess this is more of this might be kind of a combination of a comment and a question. So is there a focus on people with developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities that are under 21? They haven't been convicted of anything. And so I would say, hey, you're still entitled to a free, appropriate public education, and that they should be receiving that if you're under 21, having an IEP and still receiving that education. Is that part of the focus on this as well? Or is that a different subject?
This is Catherine, and when we worked with our STOP project, that was something that was noted that youth with developmental disabilities in the juvenile justice system, they weren't getting the education that they should be getting. They also weren't getting services like PT, OT, speech therapy. So that could definitely be a process. It seemed like medication, like people not getting their medication, was an issue, primary issue in that listening session as well. Which, if you don't get your medication, your healthcare needs aren't met, and then you may very well have behavioral issues because you don't have your medication, which leads to further consequences.
Allie?
We just got a brand new justice center in Perryville, and they flat out tell me if they ever arrested me, they would let me go because they don't have anybody to give medicines, or they don't have anybody to take care of people. So unless I like kill them downright, they would just let me go because they don't have any red text for anybody to use it. So I thought that was interesting.
It looks, oh, wait. Tony Taylor says, please do not commit crimes, Allie, even with the free pass. So that kind of makes me, I really hadn't thought about the quote unquote housing of the people who then end up in the criminal justice system. Like that could be a big issue. Like I've always thought about the scary part of someone getting arrested just because they don't understand what the policeman's asking them to do or whatever. But when they get arrested, what happens? So I don't know. That could, so that I guess to me says it should stay in the criminal justice system. Any other thoughts on that before Emily moves on?
Okay, so we'll keep the criminal justice system focus on the survivorship work, and we'll provide details in July of what that will look like. So another unfunded initiative is inclusive recreation, which is also Catherine's. So our effort was to promote inclusive recreation. We collected data, identified barriers, shared success stories, and identified best practices. Should this work continue?
It's Lisa Liss. I think I would just like to remind everybody again about our CRA data where people gave a lot of comments about their connection to their community, their social life, their spiritual life, and those types of connections that I think people do get while doing recreation. Liam?
We might just wanted to agree with you on that, Madam Chair. I think that with that information, and then as we look at these, the issues on the top of the screen there that are kind of our focuses, I think that inclusive recreation falls within all of those to some degree, and so I think it's a great focus for us.
Sorry, I think the important. I think I need to step up and help more. Like I said, so I will try to help happen more with that project. Yeah.
Allie's volunteering to help Catherine because she has a degree in recreation. So I know Catherine will appreciate that. Any other thoughts before Emily moves on to the next? Okay.
So next steps for us is the staff will be drafting the work plans. It might just be 2027, it might be 27 and 28. And we will bring some version of that, a plain language version of that, to you guys in July. And then we will submit both the 5-year state plan and the work plans that are approved in August. I think that's it. Thank you, everyone, for the feedback.
Done. We're looking at the agenda. Oh, it's gonna go into lunch then, huh? Our break. It's 10 o'clock now. Should we have them present and then have discussion or wait? I would do. Okay. Sorry about that. We are going to jump ahead before break to do a women's health webinar review. I sent you a link to that. I think I texted it to you. Hold on one second. Okay, so to give a little background, I think it was a couple months ago, I listened to a webinar that the Kansas DD Council did regarding a women's health guide that they had put together. It was a pretty extensive webinar led by two young women with developmental disabilities in OBGYN, I believe maybe someone from the DD Council. I can't remember who the other person was. And what they've put together is similar to what we got several months ago from Allie, the kind of like the plain language social story regarding menopause. But this is pretty much like all of women's health. So Emily's trying to find it to pull it up so we can share it as I'm kind of talking. As a mother of a young woman, it's always good to get these kind of resources that are something that she can understand. So it's really extensive. As I said, it talks a lot about your rights as a patient. It talks about what's going to happen when you go to the doctor. How can you get ready to go to the doctor? And not just women's health issues, but also your health in general. So even like your well visits that you go to every year. The thing that I thought was super cool about it was that there was one young lady in particular who did a lot of the leading of the discussion. And she talked about things, as we have in this group before, about how she was treated. She was maybe in her 20s. She's her own guardian going to the doctor. Her mother would be there, and, doctors not speaking to her, doctors asking her mom for permission, things like that. And so that was kind of one of the driving forces behind it. If you just kind of I'm not going to go through it just so people can sort of see some of the visuals. What was one of the driving forces behind this, and I thought it was awesome that it was developed pretty much by individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, so that they had the lived experience and also were good at being able to maybe understand what they wished they had known and what helped them once they were able to go to the doctor. The doctor also gave a lot of really good information about why doctors do things a certain way, and some of it is, by law, whatever. But it really, like, a lot of this is very wordy, but it is in plain language. When you get to the women's health part, I think it was a little more visual. But they even talked about, how do you keep your body healthy in between going to the doctor? Why is the doctor telling you that you should eat all the food groups? What, if you gain weight, what, and the doctor's telling you this, what are good ways to, get in your activity or whatever. Talked a lot about reproductive health and your rights as a woman, your rights as, you're in charge of your own body, those kinds of things. I ordered hard copies of this, but they never came. because I thought it would be something to pass around here. But I would recommend, if you work with young women or you have a young daughter, maybe with or without a disability, because this is a good starting point to work with them. You can order a hard copy on their website. Otherwise, this is just a PDF that you can download and share with people. I actually sent it to my daughter's doctor, who is not any sort of special doctor. And she, thought it was great and was already saying she had other young women without disabilities who are nervous about coming for their well woman visit, and that these kind of like very concrete photos and whatnot will be really helpful for them too. So I just wanted to share about it because I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really cool that another council put this together and they're sharing it with anybody who wants to see it. So any questions on that? Nadia has a comment. I can't see the whole thing. Okay, we'll definitely make sure we send out the link to it to everybody after the fact. And I do think there was a section on that, Nadia. Colette?
I just want to share that, well, I just want to say I appreciate you bringing this to the council, but this particular resource, I have been receiving it from professionals that are aren't in the developmental disability space, other nurses and different people asking if I had seen it. And I have also noticed that parents and further away across the country of daughters with developmental disabilities are sharing it quite a bit. So I think that resource is really a cool one and resonating with a lot of people. So I think it is something that we should be sharing or looking more closely at, because they just released that. I think it was last month or something. At least that's when I started seeing it, and it's really making its rounds pretty quickly. So I think they did a really nice job with it. So thank you for sharing it.
Yeah, I want to say there were a couple hundred people on that webinar. It was pretty cool. Any other comments or questions? And again, we'll send out the link to it, and do feel free to share it on your social media, send it to groups families you work with, whatever. Okay, we are gonna, I think, can we take a break? Take a break. Oh, okay. Okay. Now we are going to do staff-led initiative updates, which was supposed to happen later in the afternoon. So let's go ahead and do that. Who wants to be first? Catherine, do you have anything else to say? We talked about all your stuff. Go ahead, Catherine.
Okay, this is Catherine, and we did talk a lot about stuff I'll be working on. With recreation, I am following up on the contacts that I made and the best practices I learned about at the Missouri Parks and Recreation Conference. And I have a really good contact with the Great Plains ADA Center that should be able to help us with sharing and training and things like that. The DSP crisis. When we did our Olmsted white paper, we did some surveys about the DSP crisis. And so once session is over with, I'm going to connect with Christina to figure out how best to share that information with policymakers. And then there's a couple of states that are working on the DSP crisis. And so I'm connecting with them to learn about what they're doing. And I think NACDD is coming out with a toolkit to aid with the DSP crisis. So I'm going to have lots of stuff to share on that. Olmsted, I think the update on that, the Olmsted work, is the statement that y'all just approved. I'm very excited about that. And then the survivorship work. Earlier this week, I went to the Missouri Office of Prosecution Services conference. It was very good. I connected and I'm building a lot of relationships with the people to help with the survivor task force that will hopefully be developing soon.
Okay, thanks. Who wants to be next? All right, Jada.
This is Jada. So I have two updates. One is for the MODDC, the Missouri Department of Transportation update. We did a public comment. And so we talked about barriers that people face, people with disabilities face when they're trying to get to work, school, medical appointments, and community activities. In the public comment, we also discussed how transportation problems can be harder for people in rural areas where there's fewer options. Another concern we addressed was the possible transportation budget cuts and how they could affect services and accessibility across Missouri. And then lastly, we focused on the importance of safe, reliable, and accessible transportation for all Missourians. And so the second update was the DOJ seclusion and restraint. So I worked with coalition partners and self-advocates on education and policy work related to the Department of Justice report. And so I participated in meetings with policymakers about the House Bill 2183, which would ban seclusion in schools, and self-advocates also help share personal experiences and explain why safe and supportive approaches are important. And so the update for the House Bill 2183, it was attached to Amendment House Bill 2933, which would allow for school districts to withdraw from the special school district. Neither of those bills will pass this session. So that is my update.
I should have asked, were there any questions for Catherine? And now are there any questions for Jada on anything they shared so far? Okay, Christina.
Thank you. This is Christina. So all of my work is still currently staff led, right? So you're just going to hear about a few pieces of that. So I wanted to share a little bit about the work we're doing to rev up rural advocacy and specifically empowering self-advocates in rural areas. And a lot of that does tie into the coffees we're planning. Yes, we are doing coffees in non-rural areas as well, but I am looking for more opportunities to go into rural areas. It's also a great opportunity to connect with local organizations and others who are interested in disabilities in those places to physically go there. We are hosting, Allie's Coffee, which is in Perryville, as you have all heard. And we really want to grow that advocacy army across the whole state, rural and non-rural. So we're really focusing there. We're also tracking the data in a certain way so we can identify how well we're doing with that. The other staff-led initiative I wanted to talk to you about was just generally my engagement with lawmakers. So as sort of a rundown of the session, we talked directly to approximately 22 state senators this session, 38 representatives, and or some of their staff along the way. We primarily focused on the DMH budget bill, House Bill 10, because our legislative priorities this session were to protect Medicaid and home and community-based services. And since those cuts were offered or recommended by the governor, we obviously had to focus our efforts there quite a bit. But we did discuss other legislative pieces that can be found in that legislative update document on members only. As has been discussed already, so I won't go into too much, I've also been helping Emily and Catherine on the 504 work, and we're engaging, it's not just engaging policymakers, it's also engaging, the Attorney General's office and their team and other advocates along the way. One issue that's actually gaining some traction that we had really started in December in partnership with several organizations, including, but I'm sure I'm going to forget some, the Governor's Council on Disability, Paraquad, St. Louis ARC, and MACDDS. We really want our state Senate chamber to be live streamed and to have accessible testimony, potentially even written testimony submitted. Senator Mike Moon has been very positive on this, so we have been in conversation with him. He took a big swing on the Senate floor about 2 weeks ago now, where he tried to change a rule on the floor to say that they will start live streaming. And they do, because you can't see the video and I wasn't there in person, they do what's called a standing vote. So I only know the final count, but 11 senators stood up with him to try to change that rule, which was not enough to win the issue, but it definitely signaled something to the chamber, and other media picked up on it the next day. So let's hope we can have more accessibility there. The action alert that we did after the governor proposed his initial cuts, we sent out 3,500 emails collectively. So go us, go all the reach we have. And we just want to keep that momentum going, but we want to keep talking to legislators now. So I don't see engaging legislators and lawmakers as a 6-month initiative. It's really year round. The last thing, if I have time, is the self-advocacy leadership piece. And actually, I think Lydia just joined us. So hi, Lydia, welcome. But Lydia is wrapping up her policy fellowship with us. But I did want to highlight that the SSP bill that passed yesterday, Lydia did a lot of work even prior to her time on the council. So that's huge. She's also made great inroads with making the House and Senate websites more accessible. She's come to the Capitol with me multiple times and led conversations. And then she's also attended many calls that I couldn't get to, but she's filling me in. And that was incredibly helpful. We are going to miss Lydia for sure. That's everything. Oh, sorry. I have a comment. Oh. That is a good question. Let's explore that. I don't have an answer right now, but I'm open to it. I did do a presentation on the coffees last year, but in my capacity as my former job as the Emmaus Director of Advocacy, and it was well received, but we didn't do an exact coffee. So we'll have to think about that, but it's a good idea to chew on for sure. Thanks, Lisa.
Any other questions or comments for Christina? Okay, we are going to take a 15-minute break, come back at, what time will that be? At 10:38. Oh wait, Nadia just had a.
She's asking about Real Voices.
Oh, okay. 10:38. Next up, we have William is going to talk to us about the customized employment program through Voc Rehab. So take it away.
Hey guys, this is William. I apologize. I just turned my camera on and I forgot that I have a background. And so let me get that off of there so you guys can see us. I apologize for that. Yes, so I'm William Dooley. I'm obviously sit on the council. You guys hear my voice when I won't stop talking, but I am also one of the assistant directors for mental health services for vocational rehabilitation. And I have my supervisor here with me, Rebecca, and I will let her introduce herself before we jump into our presentation.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be here, seeing all the familiar faces. Hi, Allie. My name is Rebecca Jose. I'm Director of Mental Health Services for Voc Rehab. And so William and I want to present on a program that we both have oversight on, and we have been working the last 2 years on developing. But before I go into that, I want to talk a little bit about Voc Rehab. I know some of the people in this meeting know Voc Rehab very well, and some of you may not be so familiar. So a little background on vocational rehabilitation. We are under the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, which is DESE, which is a state agency. And within DESE, we are the Office of Adult Learning and Rehab Services. So that's where vocational rehabilitation services come from. We have 23 district offices that serve all 114 counties in Missouri. And our services are free for job seekers, and they are all paid for by federal tax dollars, which is about 60% of our budget, and another third comes from state tax dollars, which good news is Missouri does fully fund our Voc Rehab program. I've talked to other states where they don't do that, and they often have wait lists, and it's very difficult for clients to get into services or job seekers to get into services. So to get into VR services, you need to have a qualifying medical diagnosis. We need documentation from a medical health professional, and we also need for that diagnosis to cause challenges for employment or functional limitations. And then all of our clients that come in also should have some kind of employment goal. And we have the same goal for all of our clients, is that they will have 90 days in competitive integrated employment. And by competitive integrated employment, we mean a job that pays at least minimum wage that anyone can apply for. So we have lots of different services that we offer to help people meet that goal. A big service that we offer is employment services, where we'll have someone help you with finding jobs and applying for jobs. If you want them to go to your employer and talk to them, if you give them permission to do that, we help support that. And once you're on a job, help you filling out the onboarding paperwork, all the things. Also, if you need accommodations, they can help you advocate for that. Then we have supported employment, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a second. We also offer training. So if you want to go to college or get technical training, we can help support that. And if you're financially eligible, we can also help pay for that. And then we also help set up apprenticeships, and we also help offer rehab technology. So we have anything that can help someone move into employment. To talk about supported employment, a lot of clients we serve come to us and they need a job coach. They need a lot of assistance to get going on a job. And so the supported employment is for our most significantly disabled clients. I'm sorry, I don't like that label, but that's the category it's called. And that means that that person has at least 3 functional limitations that make employment challenging. That could be they have difficulty with communication. It could be they have difficulty with mobility. It could be they have difficulty getting along with other people, or often they have difficulty learning the skills and tasks required for the job. So if they meet that category, they can be eligible for supported employment if that's what they choose. And our supported employment program takes a little while to get up and running, but the nice thing is we do a very thorough assessment that lasts about 6 to 8 weeks, where we will take that job seeker out into the community and kind of test different job sites. Maybe, see what their stamina is like, see if they even enjoy this job. Do they need a job with a lot of repetition, or do they want, a lot of variety in their tasks? So we come back from that assessment and we meet as a team and we decide, hey, is this person ready for employment? If so, then we go into job development. If not, when we say maybe, we think maybe not at this time they're ready, but if they got a little bit more skills and training, we would refer them to usually an SB 40 board program. Sometimes DMH also has programs called pre-employment programs that we can refer them to so they can build those skills. And then they can always come back to us. We welcome with open arms to start their job search again. So and then once a person does find a job in supported employment, they can get the coaching, and we can provide coaching up to 2 years. Sometimes we go longer, with the hope that that person learns the skills of the job and is becoming a good employee on the job. And so once the job coaching falls below 10%, then we will call that person employed status, and that 90-day clock that all of our clients that we have that same goal of 90 days successful competitive integrated employment on the job. And just kind of monitoring that person to make sure they're successful. And also we're setting up those long-term supports, because we know sometimes people still need support after that 2 years of coaching. So a lot of times our SB 40 boards and DMH through Medicaid waivers can provide that ongoing support. So with our supported employment program, we have about a 65% success rate, which is pretty good. And we're pretty happy about that, but we're not happy about those 35% who have tried supported employment, who still very much want to work, but have not gotten a job. So this program, customized employment, is really geared towards a lot of those clients. So if you want to start the slideshow.
I'll try. I'm comfortable trying.
Well,
maybe I say that. Sorry, it's been a while since I have had to share on Zoom, so I apologize. I think I'm good to go. Thank you though so much.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Yeah.
Sure
So MVR, Missouri VR, customized employment, and I'll sometimes refer to it as CE throughout this presentation. But this is something that we have created over the last 2 years. If you want to go to the next slide. So one thing that's exciting about it is we had a team of 6 people, and you'll see William and I in the back row, but also our colleagues. We had a district supervisor and a regional manager help us with developing this program. And then on the front row, the woman with the pink shirt, that's Madeline Webster, and the lady on the other end in the black shirt, that's Erin. Those were our consultants. And then the guy in the little square, that's another one of our consultants. So these consultants we hired, they are from the Institute for Community Inclusion, which is based out of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, which does a lot of research and support for people with developmental disabilities. We had kind of great expertise helping us, and we love Madeline because she also worked at the UMKC, the life course. So she has implemented some of that into our VR customized employment program. So if you want to go to the next slide. A little bit of the history of customized employment. So first off, you should know that all states are required by federal law to be having a customized employment program. That was a law that was passed in 2014 called WIOA, which had a lot of new rules that were around vocational rehabilitation and workforce development and making sure people had more accessibility. So we've been trying, and we did try, and we did have a customized employment program in some areas of Missouri starting in 2018, which that was great. However, we also know timing, that was not the best time. And unfortunately, the pandemic won and our customized employment programs kind of fell apart because it was just very difficult to go out and do all the hands-on work required for customized employment. We did have one site out in Kansas City that did continue to have customized employment, and they still are doing it, but the rest of the sites that we had trained and were doing it kind of fell apart. In 2024, we decided, hey, we need to get a customized employment program. That has been a priority on our strategic plan. So this is where we hired our consultants. And one thing I really liked that our consultants did is they did a lot of research. They researched what fell apart in Missouri. They also researched other states. How is their customized employment program working? And they kind of, were very strategic in how we designed our customized employment. So we're not getting into the pitfalls that other states had with their customized employment program. So a little bit more about what is customized employment. In our model, we are really moving towards zero exclusion. If that person qualifies for our services and they want to work, we do not want to turn them away. We want to make sure that they have a chance, and we have given them all the services and resources and coordinated and organized them in a way so that they can be successful. All of our services are paid for by Missouri Vocational Rehabilitation, and this is a one-of-a-kind model. No other states have this. This is unique to Missouri, and again, it's for those people with the most significant disabilities. And the other thing that's really key about our program is it's a very team-based model. You will go throughout the process making sure you have a well-coordinated team that's being very proactive throughout the process. Go to the next slide. One thing that also that we're looking for the clients for customized employment is they need to be receiving case management services from the Department of Mental Health and Developmental Disability. So they need to have that Medicaid waiver because that will be critical to making sure they have that ongoing support after VR pulls out. So we want to make sure that's in place. And even if it's not quite all in place, we will do our best to start the process. We have been coordinating with DMH to make sure that these clients get priority on Medicaid waivers if they are going to need that ongoing support. We're also serving intellectual disabilities for now. I do predict in a couple of years once we're more established and more hopefully doing this better, we can maybe start branching out and maybe serving other disabilities. Also for now, you need to live in an area where we're offering customized employment. Last month, William and I did go out to the Kansas City region. We had 6 providers who are interested and who have been trained in providing customized employment. And one of those providers even came to us and said, hey, we also work in the Nevada area. If the VR office wants to get trained, we would be happy to provide services for customized employment in the Nevada area. So William will be going next month to train the Nevada staff so we can get up and running in the Nevada area. And then also next on our list is the central region, which would be around Columbia and the district offices we have there. We'll be training them sometime this fall and then hopefully get to the rest of the state. We have the Southwest region, the East region, Southeast region that we need to still train. But the goal is, I think in the next 2 years, all regions will have customized employment going. And also, again, we want that person to have that goal of working competitive employment. They will need the unique support that's going beyond what we offer in supported employment. You want to go to the next slide? So if you are thinking, hey, we might be interested in customized employment, your district office is a great place to start and just schedule an intake. And also know anyone can be referred for our services and it's free to participants. And again, we need that documented diagnosis from a licensed health professional. And again, that person needs to be clear that we're working competitive employment. This is not transitional employment, which is temporary. This is not sheltered workshops. This is competitive employment jobs anybody can go for. And again, we want that DMHDD services waiver that will be unique to customized employments to get those ongoing supports. You want to go to the next slide? And then just to kind of draw the line, who would be best for customized employment versus supported employment? So it's that level of support. So, a supported employment client, their needs can usually be addressed through a job coach and accommodations and not too much beyond that. But if you have a person who has really complex needs that cannot be addressed through that traditional job placement, they need kind of more support, then that would be a good person for customized employment. We're also looking at the employment history. If they've had some success working on jobs, we have summer work programs. If we've seen some success there and they did well, then they probably would do well in supported employment. But if they were having a lot of challenges, struggles, those people we would say, let's look at customized employment. And then we're also looking at the skills. Supported employment, does the person have a basic understanding of what they need to be doing for a job and they can have those skills in place ready to go or at least grow or learn them, whereas a person in customized employment needs extensive preparation and we really need to kind of work on getting those skills built up. Also for job matching, in supported employment, we are getting that person into the job, whereas customized employment, we are tailoring that job to that person. So we're creating that job. We're doing a lot of negotiation with the employer to make sure they can be successful. And then the on-the-job support, the support employment is moderate levels of ongoing support, and it's also time limited within that 2-year time frame. Customized employment, we're looking at intensive long-term job support check-ins throughout the process. So when VR closes, they still get that ongoing support. And then the job restructuring for support employment, we can do some minor restructuring and look at accommodations, whereas customized employment, we're really doing significant job restructuring or just, maybe creating a new job based on tasks that we know that person can do. Also know once a client is eligible at VR, they get to choose the provider that can provide customized employment services. So we always let our clients have informed choice about who they want to work with. And then we start off with that team meetings. This team process is really key. And we'll talk about all the process and expectations. And they will start the 4-part discovery process. You want to go to the next slide? And so our team, the people who are mandatory for the team will be obviously the job seeker, the employment specialist that VR will contract with, and the VOC rehab counselor. And we also will want to be including a service coordinator if they're out there, like if it's somebody from Regional Center or SB40 board. Those people will be key. We really want to make sure they are going to the meetings and being active participants. However, beyond that, we also really want to get the natural supports, other significant players kind of into the team meeting that could be some good supports for that job seeker. I'll throw it over to you, William.
Okay, so we are going to take a bit of a step back and talk about some of the details of customized employment and what that service will look like through vocational rehabilitation. I apologize. I realized too late after sharing my screen that my notes were written on my computer, and so I'm just going to wing it. But if I talk really slow, I usually can gather my thoughts without filling you guys just full of a bunch of words. So hopefully I will not confuse you or confuse myself. But if we need to, I can resort to this. My notes as a lifesaver. So we have 4 areas of focus in the discovery process. They are the individual profile, the vocational profile, the career portfolio, and the employer exploration. In the first 3 areas of focus, the employment professional is going to work with the job seeker to determine what would be the ideal situation for employment for that individual. And then in the 4th area of focus, the employer exploration, the job seeker and the employment professional are going to work together to bring that information to a potential employer that matches with the roles and the themes that were identified within the discovery process. Now, the employment professionals that we are going to be working with in this service have received special training through the Missouri model of customized employment. They have worked with our consultants from the Institute for Community Inclusion to learn how to gather the appropriate information in this process, how to use that information to find customizable employment opportunities, how to negotiate with employers, how to approach employers about negotiation in potential customized positions, and how to negotiate positions so that employers see that employers know how to use these customized positions to increase their productivity and to meet unmet business needs. So this breaks down a little bit further each of those stages of discovery. In stage 1, or the individual profile, we expect it to take 4 weeks. In this stage, the employment professional gets to know the job seeker. They interview their natural supports, they observe the job seeker, and they map resources in the community. After these activities, the employment professional is going to create a report to share with the team, and then the team meets together after these activities to share what was learned and any needs that have arisen that they need to be addressing. In stage 2, or the vocational profile, we expect it to take about 4 weeks, and the employment professional and the job seeker will complete activities to identify areas of themes, interests, and support needs. The employment professional will again create a report to share with the team, and they will meet together to discuss what has been learned and any information that they need to be addressing. In stage 3, or the career portfolio, we anticipate taking 4 weeks, and in this stage, the employment professional and the job seeker will work together to create written and visual resumes, create a skill bank, identify references, and start gathering employment or I-9 documentation. The job seeker and the employment professional are going to create a portfolio in this stage, and they will share that portfolio with the team. It's also important to know that if the job seeker wants to pursue microenterprise, it should be identified at this time. Now, that's something we haven't talked about yet. I do have a slide coming up, and so we will discuss that more. But as we kind of show this entire picture of the discovery process, we want to show at what point we would be identifying microenterprise if we are pursuing that. And then in stage 4, or the employer or role exploration,
Sorry. Can we stop for just 1 second?
Yep.
Scott's got his hand up.
Perfect. Yes. I actually had a spot in my notes to say questions, and I must have missed that part. So sorry about that.
Scott.
Could you refresh my memory? What is I-9 documentation?
Yes. Thank you so much for that, Scott. I apologize. So I-9 documentation are the documents necessary to prove that you are able to work in the United States. So those can include a birth certificate or a social security card or a driver's license or non-driver's license, just verifying your citizenship and your eligibility to work. Does that answer your question, Scott? Is that good?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir. Just double checking. Thank you so much. So then in stage 4, or the employer or role exploration stage, we expect it to take 6 weeks. And in this stage, the client and the employment professional will complete informational interviewers with employers and identify potential job placements. So for those of you that that were able to notice the different time lengths for this stage, this is going to be a lengthy process. We anticipate the discovery process to take 18 weeks or upwards of 4 months. Now, we recognize that this is a very time-consuming and a large commitment, but we do feel that this is the process that we need to complete in order to understand the needs of each individual enough to use the Missouri model of customized employment for successful services. Does anyone have any questions about? I know this slide. There's so much information on here. Before I move on, yes, ma'am.
It's Lisa Liss. I did have a question, and if you're going to go more into this later, then I'll wait. But on stage 4, I know this is not easy to do. Madeline, your consultant, is actually the person that found my daughter her job. But many businesses are not willing to pay someone to do a job that is not like quote unquote a whole job. So how do you plan to find businesses that are willing to do this? Are there any sort of incentives for companies that are willing to do it? Small businesses seem to be the perfect place because most of them walk the walk, but maybe don't have the funding to be able to pay somebody when they could have somebody else do twice as much work. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for that question, Madam Chair. And you know, that is something that I think you're hitting the nail on the head on a major struggle with customized employment across the entire country. I think that we in this field tend to be fierce advocates for the people that we work with and that we serve and work for. And while employers may share that same sentiment, they're trying to meet a bottom line. And I think that a lot of times we don't understand why we can't just advocate and make things work. And so one of the things that we are focusing on in our training for our employment professionals, for our Voc Rehab counselors, and just personally, one of the things that I'm very interested in, and I know that Madeline is very great about, it is developing tools and strategies to be able to not just understand the business enough to find places where there are unmet needs or inefficiencies, but to be able to know how to consult with the business so that it doesn't just feel like we're coming to them saying, hey, please work with us out of the goodness of your heart. We have job task analyses and we have tools where we can say, hey, this unmet need in your business fits perfectly with the strength of the individual that I'm working with. And if we can pair those together, then we can cut costs that you are creating by having to focus on those needs and use those costs towards being productive. And so, but you also have a great point about like mom and pop shops and those sorts of things. There are also just little tips and tricks like that where we are training them to look towards those and utilize tools that can help them identify those.
I would also
sorry.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to add also within VR we have a business team, which has each area has their own business specialist who is going out and networking with businesses and explaining our services. And we can also have our counselors consult with them about, hey, I have this customized employment client who has these themes they're interested in. Do you know any employers who would be interested? And then we also have nexus groups throughout the state, which are, they have monthly meetings, and these are a mix of businesses and employment professionals helping people with disabilities. And we do have some businesses who are very interested in being a diverse employer and hiring clients. So they are all oftentimes they're sharing with us a lot of job leads and stuff like that. And they would probably be the first place we could start with because we already know they're interested and invested in hiring people with disabilities. So so that would also be a place we could go.
That's awesome. Tony.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Here's a question I have, and maybe you have this on one of your slides, and I just haven't seen it yet. But what is the current acceptance rate of individuals with developmental disabilities that you work with in VR? Do you have a stat on how many people you accept into working with them on employment, or?
As long as they meet our eligibility criteria, which is that diagnosis, functional limitation, and a job goal, they are in our services. Now, do all of those clients move forward with employment if, in their support employment, they've found out in discovery, oh, we still need some skill building and stuff like that? I don't know exact statistic around that, but majority of people are recommended for competitive employment, with the understanding for the ones who are not to go into those other, ways of building skill building and then come back to us when they're ready.
So when did this approach in VR change? Is that something that's happened recently, or? The reason I ask is because several years ago, my son was deemed unemployable by VR, and they would not work with him. And he had 2 years of work experience at a small mom and pop business since the age of 16, where they did do customized employment with him. And since that assessment and deeming of unemployable, there have been at least 2 other employment agencies that did work with him directly, came to his job site, watched him work, and worked on customized approach to employment. And now he is a successful entrepreneur and has his own business. And he just left to go service clients, and he works about 4 to 5 days a week. So I think your approach is great if you do allow individuals to work with you and not just deem them unemployable. So that's why I was looking for that stat, because I don't know if that's still happening in VR and at what rate. But I personally believe that anyone who wants to work should be allowed to work. And so I just didn't know if that was your take today, or if things have changed from about 8 to 10 years ago. So thank you.
There you go. Thank you so much for that, Tony. And I think that I think that that's the exact sentiment, is that I'll just stay away from it. So that is exactly why we have this service, Tony. And why we wanted to provide that is because, as a VR counselor, one of the hardest conversations that you ever have to have with an individual is to discuss that we are unable to recommend moving forward with our services for employment. And so that experience with your son is exactly the type of experience that we want to address. We do not want anyone who wants to work to come to vocational rehabilitation and us say we don't have the services to provide, or we don't have the supports necessary to make sure that we can support you in the way that you need as an individual. And so that's exactly what this service is meant to provide, as a way to have those supports and have that capability. And so we still have our trial work experience, and we still have our pre-work assessments that individuals in supported employment are able to use. But this is meant for those individuals that say, I want to work no matter what. I'm not here to see if I can work. I'm here to work. We now have a service that we can say, okay, let's figure out how. Let's make it work together so that we can be successful in employment.
I have some more questions. Scott, then Steve, then Allie.
For those who come after they get like a degree or something, what do you have any like data on success rate of getting something like in their field necessarily?
So we just started our program. So once we get more clients going, started, we can definitely, hopefully we're coming back in a year or two with a lot of data, and we can really understand kind of how our program's working and, calibrate things as needed if we need to adjust stuff and make sure that people are being successful. But like I said, 65% for our supported employment clients. Good. Do I wish it was higher? Yeah. And I definitely want to help that 35% that we're kind of missing the mark for. So, but yeah, that's a great question. And I'm a data person, so I definitely will be happy to come back and hopefully share a lot of data with you in a year or two about how great our program is doing.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for asking some data-related questions. Thank you guys for asking data-related questions, because sometimes they don't let us have access to some of that, and I'll just tell them you guys are asking about it, so we need that. So hopefully that'll help us. So.
Hey, I don't live here, but I don't know if you have people who lost their family, their house and everything in it. They need to get something to help them get a job and train them. And in Sison, we had like a homeless people who don't know how to help, because I saw people on the side of the road putting signs on them, like cardboard signs on them, and but they need people to help them have a place to live until they get a job and can afford paying the bills and stuff like that.
Thank you so much for that, Steve. And that is where our focus for all vocational rehabilitation services, but especially for customized employment, that's why our focus is on the team and having everyone there, because we focus on employment services and our hands are kind of tied with that. But we know there are service coordinators or other members of our community or our staff that can help us find resources for that. And so when we have everyone at the table, we can have discussions about what is available to help with housing or what services can help with things kind of outside of our control.
Right.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You know how people with that kind of issue of being hurt. That was the major issue when I tried to get a job, was trying to transfer my different benefits, not to get cut off or lose money. And then when I quit my job, it was not me to try to go back. So do you have people that help make that transition?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Ali. So Ali was asking about benefits planning and having people that can help us navigate that so that you don't end up in a worse situation from working than you were before, right? And so the short answer to that, Ali, is that that's a sore subject because of the issues with funding that we've had lately. Voc Rehab was actually set up to roll billing excuse me, benefits planning out as a milestone, which means we can pay for that service to make sure everyone has it. But because of the funding, we have held back on that. We haven't been able to roll that out yet. And so a lot of our organizations that we work with have benefits planners on staff. And so we try to use them, or there are some services across the state that provide those virtually. And so we try to use those as possible. But I actually just woke out of a dead sleep the other night and made a note that we don't focus enough on MOABLE accounts and pass plans and those sorts of things in our training. And so we need to focus more on how we can help set people up for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's something in a further slide I talk a little bit about, but we actually have team meetings at every stage in this process. And that is one of the things we focus on is where are we at with our benefits, and are we still in a situation where we're that's helping us? So thank you so much.
It looks like Scott has his hand up again.
I know I'm asking a lot. I'm going along with the question on homeless. I've been through VR, and I know they ask your part of the process is asking your mailing or home address. Say someone who is homeless actually wants services and comes to you, and they ask, okay, start the process, but we need your mailing address. What happens then?
So unfortunately, I can't give you a straight answer on that, and I apologize for that, Scott. Each individual office has their own practices on ways that they address that situation, and really every case is individualized, you know. And so I have had clients whom I have served who were unhoused and did not have an address. I have heard of counselors who or were unable to open a case because they did not have an address on file. You know, at the end of the day, our purpose as Voc Rehab is to help set someone up for the greatest chance of success at employment. And it's hard to set up for success when somebody is unhoused. And that is unfortunate that that's the limitation of our services. But what we typically would do in that situation is recommend some resources and help somebody get connected with somebody who can help with the housing, and then recommend that they come back to us after they have pursued those services. But we all make exceptions. We all want to do what's right by people, and so there have been some other instances of that. But I just want to share that that's kind of the thing that keeps us from just moving forward on that. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next slide. Thank you guys so much for the questions. This has been great discussion. So I have here a note just about at each team meeting. So like I mentioned, at every stage in discovery, we will have a team meeting where all the key players that Rebecca had mentioned earlier, as well as anybody additional that is part of your specific customized employment team, would get together to check in on our long-term support needs, whether another agency or person should be part of the team, for example, rehab technology or the business services team that Rebecca had mentioned previously. If there have been any changes to health status that would change our planning for services, or any financial needs. As we had spoken about, benefits planning, money management, anything that we could be doing to make sure, again, that we're set up for that long-term independence. So that is the discovery process. In a nutshell, a lot of exploration, a lot of determining details that would go into employment. So after the discovery process, the employment professional and the job seeker are going to use identified employment interests and themes to start approaching employers that match with the themes from the discovery finding. Once they have identified a potential job, the employment professional completes a job task analysis, which helps make sure that the position that they are seeking and the strengths of the job seeker are a good fit, and help identify specific support needs. After that, the team will work together with the employer to agree on jobs and tasks to create a customized position. This is known as the customized job proposal. After the customized job proposal and after the individual, the job seeker, who is now the employee, is on the job, they will receive coaching support from the employment professional, and who will also be working to identify any more accommodations or anything that maybe we haven't addressed or recognized up to that point. Once the job coaching supports fade below 10% of the time on the job, the client is moved into employed status and monitored for 90 days by the team. After someone has reached 90 days of employment, they are eligible for successful closure from Missouri Vocational Rehabilitation Services, and they move to their long-term supports, where they will use the long-term support plan. The long-term support plan is a document that the customized employment team has been building throughout the entirety of the vocational rehabilitation case. It details what needs are identified and what needs need to be implemented after vocational rehabilitation closure, so that we as a team can set those up appropriately and make sure that those are being implemented. Okay. So if I haven't given you enough information, let's talk about microenterprise for a second. So microenterprise is a small-scale business that works well with the individual's skills, interests, and needs. So you can kind of think about this sort of as a customized employment version of self-employment. So, excuse me. So just to give you an idea, a little picture of what this would look like, this is not the type of business where you would hire employees to work under you, or where you would get to spend the day bossing people around. This is more of if you have a craft, a service, a good, something that you and your customized employment team agree can be turned into a legitimate business. In order for that to be defined as a business, the individual has to be meeting competitive integrated employment standards, which means that they must be making at least minimum wage. In microenterprise versus our current vocational rehabilitation self-employment, there's a cap, a maximum $5,000 VR contribution. This still falls under our income guidelines, and so for an individual to be eligible for that contribution, they would have to meet our financially based service guidelines through Voc Rehab, which I won't get into the details of. But in this service, the individual will work with employment services provider or the employment professional, whereas if you have heard of our current self-employment services, it's typically just the vocational rehabilitation counselor and the individual, the job seeker, working together to create a business plan. And this is going to work with our employment professionals instead. They are going to be able to provide job coaching because of this. And they're also going to help with the needed documentation to set up the business. And I've got here some of the tax information, tracking the income, those sorts of things that come with running a business. One thing that I do want to make clear, however, is that with this service, we are not going to be requiring a full business plan where we typically would in our current self-employment services. So this is made to be smaller scale to meet the needs of the individual. And this is also something that is not going to be used as a last resort. We do not want microenterprise to be used because the team felt like they couldn't find something that worked around their community or area. We want this to be something that the client or the individual wants to do. that they can get set up to do independently and will ultimately lead them to that competitive integrated employment. Does anyone have any questions about that, about micro enterprise? Okay, so we currently, I'm actually going to stop sharing for just a second because I want to make sure that I give you guys all of this correct information. Well, actually, I guess I could just leave that on there. Okay, so we are rolling out customized employment by region in Missouri. This service is going to involve many partners and many teams, and so we want to make sure that we are setting it up with the proper supports to keep moving forward in each area. So we're starting in what we call the Northwest region, which includes the vocational rehabilitation offices in St. Joseph, Kansas City North, Kansas City East, Kansas City Downtown, and the Sedalia district offices. These listed VR offices have all been trained in the Missouri model for customized employment, and the providers for each of these offices were given a choice on whether they wanted to provide these services or not. But those who are providing must attend the training with Missouri Vocational Rehabilitation to learn about our model and to be put onto a list where each employment professional who is authorized to provide customized employment services will be kept on a master list that we will have updated and make sure that they, again, are authorized to provide the services. Our next stop is the Central region, which covers the Chillicothe, Jefferson City, Columbia, and Kirksville areas. So we plan to roll out this region in the fall of 2026, so later this year. And depending on how that rollout goes, we're going to determine how quickly we can extend customized employment to other regions of the state, as Rebecca was mentioning earlier. Also, like she mentioned, we just held our first training and opened this new model of customized employment in the first week of April. So we don't have any stats or numbers or really even case numbers at this point. We do not anticipate these numbers to be large. We still have our other services available, which have been used by many individuals with a most significant disability or diagnosis for years, and many individuals have benefited from. But with customized employment, we now have resources to serve more individuals who may not have had or may not felt like they had a path previously to competitive integrated employment, and utilizing all the positive benefits of employment. And so we are very excited to offer this service. I am going to resume share and just point out, well, if I can get that to work. Sorry. And here are our contact information. So this is everybody from our vocational rehabilitation customized employment team, from me down at the bottom of the ladder all the way up to our coordinator of program services. And so any of those people you can reach out to if you have any questions for customized employment. But if you're interested in the service, like Rebecca said, you can go to your local district office if you're in the Kansas City area currently, and hopefully in the other district offices soon. So thank you guys so much.
Thanks, William. I had a question. It's Lisa Liss. So I'm picturing these jobs that people are getting as not your 9-to-5 sort of positions, which is fine. But many individuals do not have access to transportation. My daughter had a job where she worked before school. Most parents are not going to be able to drive their family member at 6:30 in the morning and then pick them right back up at 8:30. Is transportation included as a job coach available, or whatever employment professional available to and able to drive them? And do you work around people's personal sort of schedule, like if they got a weekend job or something like that?
Thank you so much for that, Madam Chair. And so yes, to answer your question, so transportation, we know is the #1 barrier, right, all over the state. And so I will say there is much more to this process. And so some of the things that we use, for example, is the charting life course STAR, I think they call, but it kind of talks about how the services that sometimes an individual engages in become the barrier to things like transportation. And so that is just one of the many tools that we are going to set up along the way, that if the transportation is a need, we say, what are our resources here? What are the ways that we can work this out? And some of our agencies are able to provide transportation as employment professionals, not all of them. So I can't give you a blanket yes or no for that. But I can tell you transportation is one of the financially based services that we can offer through vocational rehabilitation. So if there's resources for that, we can work together. And again, with this team, the idea is that we'll find a way that works for that individual.
Okay, thanks for that. And I think a lot of people, it's not a financial barrier. It's I have to go to work. The parents or the, caregivers or spouse or whatever have to go to work. So that's good to know. That's part of the plan. I know when we started talking about this at lunch a few months ago, there was a ton of interest and everybody wanted to sit with William. So that's why we're having this conversation now. If you have questions, we have about a little less than 15 more minutes until lunch is served here. And they are here to answer your questions. If not, we'll be sharing the presentation after the fact and you'll have people's contact information. Leandra.
Yeah, I know you said that you're in the Northwest region and St. Joseph was one of the areas, and that's where I live. But each of the Voc Rehab offices in those areas can choose to be a part of this program. Do you know if the St. Joseph Voc Rehabilitation Office has chosen to take part in it?
So I apologize for the miscommunication on that, Leandra. So the vocational rehabilitation offices kind of didn't get the option. They are all going to be involved and trained in providing this service. The providers are the ones who had the choice to provide this service or not, just so you are aware. So as far as in the St. Joseph area, the district office was at our training in April, and the counselors there have received the training for customized employment. For the providers, my understanding, and correct me if your understanding is different on this, Rebecca, but my understanding is that the providers who are out there will be providing customized employment, but they are not. There has been a transition in some of the providers in that area, and so we have some of our larger providers who are able to get to that area, but currently do not have a presence there.
Yeah, my understanding is Firefly said that they would go out there because they saw the value of providing services in as many places as they can. And Firefly is one of our larger providers that's over many locations in the state, and we welcome that because we've enjoyed working with them. So we were very excited that they stepped up because we really don't like it when we see these pockets in the state where we're not getting the providers to participate in providing services. So.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, I have one more question. You said Firefly. I'm not familiar with that provider. Where are they generally located out of? Because, like I said, I'm not familiar with them in this area.
Sorry, I laughed just because they've gone through significant changes recently. So they used to be called Preferred Family Healthcare, and then they were Supported Living and Employment Services, and then they were Firefly Supported Living and Employment Services. And now Preferred Family Healthcare, if you guys have been keeping up, they merged with Burrell Behavioral Health and now are merging with Centerstone. And so they've gone through so many changes in the last 2 years or so. I am not surprised that you have not heard of them. But if you've heard of Preferred Family Healthcare, that is who they originally were before their name change.
Okay, thank you.
Emily.
So William and Rebecca, I'm curious, do you anticipate any challenges expanding this pilot given the state budget this next year? What we anticipate with wait lists and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mr. Rebecca. I would say we've made this a priority in our strategic plan from the VR standpoint. Now, we also know the longevity of this and sustainability of this is dependent on other partners. We have been strategic and systematic about engaging our SB 40 boards at MACDDS, and we have also had Kim Buckman, head of developmental disabilities at DMH, participate in our strategic planning. So she is aware, and she is definitely sharing the information with her staff. In terms of funding from the VR side for paying for milestones, I don't anticipate that will be an issue. However, we need those long-term supports in place. And DMH is aware, and they have made sure that any participants who are having those long-term job supports, making sure those are in place, that DMH is watching that. Their budget, we don't have any say over, and we know it is extremely restricted right now. However, SB 40 boards have been very, the ones who have availability have been stepping up, finding ways to add this into their budget and support that they provide. So, we also know some counties don't have SB 40 boards. So that we'll get to that bridge and cross it when we do. So.
I will also say, Emily, that this is officially not a pilot program. So we're not gonna wait and see what happens in Kansas City. We're not gonna see how that goes and determine about the rest. Our plan is to roll it out. So even if everything goes wrong in Kansas City, which it hasn't yet, knock on wood, but we plan on rolling it out to the rest of the state either way.
It's Lisa. Liz again. I have a question. This might be too in the weeds, but when a person is determined to need long-term support, it would be provided by the job person from VR and not is it eventually supposed to be transitioned to their PAs if they have a goal for employment, if they have a waiver? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So that was actually a very important piece of this that we focused on, was that all of the providers, the employment providers that we have trained in Kansas City and that we will continue to train around the state, also have DMH services and DMH contracts. And the idea there was that it can be confusing, and the shift in the focus of services, or the shift in the provision of services, can be confusing. And so the idea here is that they start with that provider who is then able to provide the services for the duration of the job after the waiver kicks in and closure of VR services. So, sorry, I might have said closure of the job. I did not mean that. I mean, they are able to provide the services for the entirety of the job through those waiver services with the long-term supports at that point. So.
And I'll also add that our hope is that with those long-term supports that they are able to sustain. We do know sometimes things happen that are beyond everybody's control, like management changes and they're not on board with it, and unfortunate things like that. Clients are always welcome back to VR. We never, even after we discharge a case, successful or unsuccessful, they are always welcome to come back into services, and we will get our heads on it to see what we can do to figure out support. So.
Any other questions, comments, thoughts? I think this is great. I mean,
thank you.
There's obviously a ton of people who are not working because no one's been able to take the time to go through this process with them, who can certainly be working.
Well, thank you all so much for the opportunity to come and present to you, and hopefully we'll continue to just have great information to share. But I'm also an open book. You guys know that I'll keep talking until you guys stop me. So so I'm sure we'll get some more. Any other questions, let me know, and I'm sure we'll have discussions on it.
Thanks again so much, both of you, for coming. We really appreciate your time. Okay, everybody. We are breaking for lunch until 12:40. 12:40. So we will see you back here then. Welcome back from lunch, everybody. We are waiting on our presenter. So in the meantime, if somebody can make a motion for approval of the March minutes.
Yes, Angela, I'll make
That
a
was
motion.
Ally. And Saniel for a second. Can we do a roll call?
You bet. One moment, please. Okay, Allie.
Approve.
Animesh.
Approve.
Tony. Approve. Rachel.
Abstain.
Andrea.
Here.
Heather. Jelani.
Approve.
Kim.
Here.
Leandra.
Approve.
Lisa Crandall.
Lisa Crandall, approve.
Lisa Nothouse.
Lisa Nothouse, I approve.
Nadia.
Approved in the chat.
Okay. Sangil. Scott Steelman. Scott, you're on mute.
Approve.
Okay. Steve Hodge.
Abstain, I'm sorry.
Abstain. Okay.
Yeah.
Steve Hodge.
Approve.
Okay. The March 2026 meeting minutes have been approved.
Okay. Thank you for that. We are going to go to new business. Does anybody have any new business? Sorry, I did not have my microphone on. We are going to move on to new business. Does anybody have any new business?
Yeah, I don't know if they got a place where they sell the people give away clothes, a lot of stuff. I forgot the name of it because we got it in Syson. it's one of those clothes and pants and stuff like that, that will have a person to or people to get the homeless some clothes, and stuff like that. They got like shoes, and women got dresses in their pants, clothes, and everything like that. It's nice. But I don't know if they got any here either in Jefferson City. So, I mean, yes, that's all I gotta say.
Thanks for sharing that. I think you and Christina should talk about places that have clothes to give to people. She's an expert statewide on places that give away clothes. Okay, I see Rita. Dr. Rita is here to talk to us about the Supporting Language Access in Schools project. Kind of give us a wrap up of that. Catherine, did you have anything to add as far as introduction? No? Okay. All right, whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay, you're ready for me. Well, thank you very much. So I'm Rita Vega, and I am from the organization with a really long name, but I represent a national organization for individuals who are interpreters in the schools and the educators who work with them. And you may recall that a little over 3 years ago, the council provided our organization with funding so that we could educate parents about language access issues, interpretation and translation services, and also educate school district staff, as well as train school district staff who were bilingual and interested in being interpreters in the schools. And so we worked with an organization for 2 years, Rev Ed, that you may be familiar with. And because of various circumstances, they pulled out of the project about 2 years in. And I was here last year asking for your permission to transition the program to one of direct service to parents to the production of multilingual materials, meaning materials for parents of students with disabilities that are written in different languages. And so what I'd like to do today is to go to our website and share what it is that you all helped us to produce. And we believe that this is probably the largest collection of multilingual materials for parents whose students are receiving special education services in the country. And so I'm hoping that I can share my screen so that I can go to the website. Is that possible?
We think you should be able to. Let us know.
Okay.
Yep, we see it.
Great. All right. So this is the website of my organization, and I'm going to go to resources and show you our multilingual family resources. We had a small section before we were funded for this part of the project, but now it's really quite extensive. So on this beginning part of the page, we say thank you to the council for providing this. And then we offer some directions for users about what they're going to see here. So with your help, we were able to produce materials in 15 different languages, many of which are relatively common in the English learner community in Missouri. And so there are two sets of materials. I'm going to show you English first, and then I'll transition so you can see what we did in other languages. So we first produced a glossary in English of 100 special education terms. And this is a little different from most glossaries out there because we have provided the information both in written form and in oral form. So we have 100 terms. It's these files are quite large, so we broke them into two files, A to G and H to Z. And let me just show you what we have here first in English. So it's a written and oral glossary, A to G, some simple instructions if you want to find a particular term, and then there's a color key so users get the idea right away. English. That they can press on the color-coded buttons to hear the narrative in their language. And so there are 16 pages of definitions in this first part of the glossary. And for the sake of time, I won't go through them, but we'll just pick a word here. We'll pick accommodation. And you can see that we give a definition and we give an example. And it's all available orally. Accommodation. A change to the learning environment or learning materials that provides access to a person with a disability. And then we have an example. And of course, my screen is interfering with the example. So let me move that. Here, let me give you the example of adapted physical education. Physical education teacher uses larger and softer balls, so students with motor impairments can more easily participate in a game. So we have these things done for 100 different terms in related to special education, everything from adaptive physical education to, access, advocacy, transition, IEP, disability categories. And then we worked with interpreters to take what we had written and put it in written and oral form in the languages of interest. And so let me just show you the Spanish version here. So if interpreters or Spanish-speaking parents would go to this part, they'd see the same title, 100 words in special education, but in Spanish, all of the information in Spanish. And then here, you can see that they're going to be directed to press the blue button if they want to listen to the material in Spanish and the red button if they want to listen in English. And so these glossaries are bilingual, so the terms are provided in English, and then they're also provided in Spanish. So here we'll just do this one. Acceso. Eliminar barreras y ofrecer diferentes actividades y espacios de aprendizaje para que todos los estudiantes puedan aprender. And so we think that this will be extremely useful to parents in helping them understand the special education process, and also to people who are interpreting. Sometimes you have people who know their home language in English very well, but they're not familiar really with a lot of the terms that we use in special education. So this is helpful to both groups of people. And we are hoping that special education school district administrators will share these links with parents, and that interpreters will as well. So that was one thing that we worked on in 15 different languages. It was quite the task. In most cases, the translators provided the oral rendition of the narrative as well. So, and just so you understand the process, this wasn't done using AI. This was done using real people. And so the translator would translate, let's say, into Ukrainian, and then there'd be another translator who would check that work, and then one of those two people made the oral recordings for us. So that was one big part of the project. The other major part of the project was to develop fact sheets about special education for parents, again, in the 15 different languages that were chosen. And so I'll show you this in English first. Here is info brief one. It's just a simple one introducing special education. And so we have this handout that educators can share with parents, print out and hand out. And then we also have an oral version, an audio file.
Understanding special education.
Which is obvious. So it simply repeats what is on the info sheet. And then again, that appears in these different languages for parents. And so let's say you have a parent who is Ukrainian and maybe doesn't speak English very well. The special educator or the interpreter can provide this group of documents to the parent, either by printing the documents out, or by providing the link. And then the parent can listen as well as have a visual of the information. And we picked, topics such as, understanding the referral and evaluation process, understanding transition services, things that we thought would be simple but useful to parents as they're beginning this journey with their child into special education. Okay. I apologize. I am trying to go back to the face page. So are there any comments or questions about that? I have one more thing that I'd like to show you. Okay. So we did three things in terms of production of materials. We did the glossaries, we did the info briefs for parents, and then we also created materials for school administrators and people who are going to be doing interpreting in the schools. So we provided short videos on these different topics, all related to language access. And we wrote a facilitator guide so that whoever was presenting this at the school would have a nice outline of what to do. So this isn't going to cost anyone in the school district any money to present. So this is very user-friendly and free, obviously. Okay. So this is the facilitator's guide for a video we created called The Interpreter's Journey. So it gives directions to the facilitator about how to lead either a small group or a large group in learning this material. And I'd like to just show you a short clip of a training that we call Collaborating with Professional Interpreters, Special Education. This is do's and don'ts for interpreters working with parents. And we'll just see a little bit of this.
On collaborating with professional interpreters in special education. Brought to you by the National Association of Educational Translators and Interpreters of Spoken Languages and the Missouri Developmental Disabilities Council.
So this is a sequence of do's and don'ts. So we see what people shouldn't do first, and then we see what they should do. So we have the parent, the interpreter, the school psychologist, and 2 teachers.
Danny's standard score in conceptual ability is 71, which suggests that, overall, he is functioning intellectually in the below average range. I see also that his performance on the DAS-2 exceeds 16% of the individuals in his age range in the general population. Now, let me walk you through his verbal reasoning next.
La maestra dice que su calificación es 71 y que no es tan inteligente como los otros niños, como el 16% de los niños, y que ella va a caminar por el medio de la razón verbal, creo. Ella le va a dar más información.
Okay, and so this is a group of interpreters and school people involved in interpreted sessions watching this, and they just saw a very bad example of what might happen at an interpreter's meeting. And so the idea is to discuss, and then they talk about what was wrong, which was basically that the school psychologist was speaking too quickly, using terms that were difficult to comprehend and interpret. And so now we're going to go back and see what the interpreter should do or should have done.
Danny's standard score in conceptual ability is 71, which suggests that, overall, he is functioning intellectually in the below average range. I see also that his performance on the DAS-2 exceeds 16% of the individuals in his age range in the general population. Now, let me walk you through his verbal reasoning next.
La intérprete necesita clarificación de parte del psicólogo escolar. Permítame un momento, por favor. The interpreter needs clarification, as I have interpreted only a couple of times for special education meetings. Can you please repeat the information in different words and spell out the abbreviations used?
Okay, and so you can see that that is the appropriate thing to do so that the parent really understands what it is that the school psychologist is saying and doing. And that's one of, not being able to understand, is obviously the big problem here that the council wanted to address. They want to make sure that all parents whose English isn't very good when they communicate with school district staff about special education, that they really leave the school understanding what the IEP is, what the program's going to be, and are able to ask questions. And some of the other topics, and I don't have the time to show you these things, but I do hope that you will come to our website and look at the various things. We made several videos having to do with plain language and interpreting materials. So plain language, as you know, has to do with making sure that we use language that everyone understands. When we do that in English, it's so much easier to translate and make sure that different language versions are also easily understood. We did a couple of videos related to translating, and this would be for teachers and other people in the school district. And actually anyone in social services can look at this and pick up tips for how they should translate materials that they want for public distribution. And we also have a couple other animated videos that show you good practices and poor practices of interpreters, what administrators should know and what they should be looking for. And I believe I can stop sharing now. And I would just, like to answer any questions that you may have. One thing first, in addition to producing these materials this past year, we were also able to have several classes for people, bilingual school staff members in Missouri to become interpreters. And so we provided training to about 30 folks this past year. And I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, but many of the school districts in Missouri use external agencies to do their interpreting. And so this grant was about getting schools more interested in developing their own interpreters by using bilingual staff or bilingual community members to become interpreters. We believe that interpretation is best done by people who are really familiar with schools and how they work, just easier to explain things that way. And we're always promoting a grow your own interpreter program rather than go to external agencies. And it's less expensive too. So anything else that I can share? Any questions I can answer?
Any questions for Rita? Is there anything in the chat?
I don't believe so.
Is there anybody online that has any questions? Feedback? Leandra?
I'm sorry if you already stated this. If a school district is interested in this, is there like a fee, or where do they go about, getting in contact with you for this information so they can implement it in their district?
Are you talking about the materials? Or are you talking?
Yes, the materials.
The materials are all freely accessible on the website.
Excellent. Okay.
And part of what we're still in the process of doing is making sure that we tell everybody about this. And so a few weeks ago, we finished putting everything up on the website, and we are going to be engaged heavily in dissemination so that all of the school district administrators, especially the people who are in charge of special education, know about these materials. And
Thank you.
Opportunities for training.
Okay, that's good. So, and is the training something that, like, how do they go about, like, if the administrators are interested in getting the training for their district, how is those materials get to the district?
So we provide interpreter training live. We have some on-demand things like you just saw, like we produce for this project. Those are free, so people would go to the website and look at those. But if a district was serious about training some of their bilingual staff, then they would send their staff to one of our courses, which is in the evening, or they would contract with us to have the courses provided during the school day. And so for the past 3 years, that's what we've been doing. So people have been coming after the school day ends to our online classes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thank you all very much. I think that what you've provided for us to do in terms of the development of materials is really exceptional. And so, as I said, we believe that because of this grant, we now have the largest collection of multilingual materials on special ed in the country, which is huge. And we are committed to adding languages as we move forward. So thank you very much.
Rita, thanks for all the work that you all did and presenting that to us. And I mean, this is kind of what the council's about, systemic change when you create something like this and are able to share it with everybody. It's pretty amazing. So I know everybody on the council is going to share this out with their networks. So you'll probably be bombarded with clicks.
I hope so. And you have the website to share with everyone, correct?
Yes.
It's the acronym natisl.org.
Yes.
Okay.
We will.
Thank you very
Make
much.
sure everybody has that. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We have a few minutes for discussing amongst ourselves. Does anybody have anything about this project they'd like to talk about or share? Allie.
It looked like money well spent. I think it looked like money well spent. Yay for us.
Yeah, I agree. Allie says money well spent. Yay for us. Catherine.
This is Catherine, and I had the honor of monitoring this project, and it really was money well spent because the original proposal was to have all of this done in Spanish, and they did Spanish and 15 other languages. So that is very exciting, and it should meet the needs of many more families.
Lisa Crandall.
Well, I know that AI has come a long way since this project started, and is available. But I think that this still has so much value because it's focused specifically on by experts. Like it's has a specific focus and it's done by experts. And I just super love the example that she gave. I love that just the simplicity of these are who these people are. This is what they're doing at the table. This is what they're talking about. Just in that short time, she was able to provide education to us that we understand, and we're not even in that field working with in that situation. So anyway, I agree, Allie. It's money well spent. That is really, really awesome. Way to go, council. Good job.
Any other comments? Oh, Christina.
As soon as I saw this website, I got really excited because this was a project started well before my time, and I already forwarded it to special ed advocates, and they were super excited about it. So good job, y'all.
Okay, let's see. Committee reports. So I will go first. In executive committee yesterday, one of the things we did was worked on, why am I not finding it on here? Oh, yes, the foundation meeting document rules. The name isn't coming to me. There we go. Okay, so you should be able to see on the screen this document that was developed by the executive committee. You might remember last time or a couple months ago, we met as the committee with Sharon Spurlock, and she came and kind of shared or walked us through some brainstorming and what our hopes and dreams were for the council and how to make sure that every voice was heard. And what came out of it was this document, or a document similar to this, which we went through point by point again yesterday and made a few minor edits. And then it was sent out to everyone to review last night. Hopefully everyone had a chance to do that. You can see the first section is just, you know, why we did this in the first place, what we're hoping to accomplish. And the number one thing is, you know, to make sure that every single voice here is heard and that everybody communicates differently, everybody processes differently. So we want to make a space for all of that. And then we kind of go into a little more nitty gritty sort of things. Since this is oftentimes a hybrid format, we have the majority of people honestly online, and it makes communicating very hard. It makes connecting with people very hard. It makes running meetings very hard because you don't know if people are there. Are they listening? Are they thinking of what they want to say, but you're not waiting long enough to give them a chance to say it? And you may have noticed a couple of these things I've already sort of implemented today. So as a best practice, we would like people to keep their cameras on during hybrid meetings to just sort of strengthen connection. We can see your face, know that you're here with us. You know, if you're not quick enough to do the raise hand button, but you have something to say, there's always staff here watching all of the squares to know when someone's got something to talk about. The next one is, before we vote on things, we're going to kind of do a sort of, I guess, a round robin, making sure that everybody has a chance to say something if they want. And of course, you can always say pass. We just want to make sure that it's not the same 3 or 4 people talking all the time, especially if people have something they want to say and just are not comfortable talking or aren't ready to talk, you know, before everyone else is, and we're already moving on to the next thing. C is embracing silence, which feels really painful for me personally, because it's just hard. So I tried really hard to do that today, and there were times in past meetings when I waited a couple of seconds and no one said anything and I moved on. And today, when I gave that longer wait time, people did have things to say that maybe they would not have shared otherwise because they didn't want to hold things up or whatever. So I'll be the one holding it up now because we really do want people to participate. That's why you're here. That's why you agreed to be on the council. So when you're here, we want to make sure everybody's being able to participate and share their thoughts. Zoom etiquette, some of these are things we've always done. Mute when you're not speaking. I think staff can do that, you know, if you forget to mute and your dog's barking or something. Use the raise hand for turn taking, or just actually raise your physical hand. State your name when speaking. I know I'm not always great at that, but it makes it easier for our captioner. It's lets people know, like, because I actually was on the LPP yesterday from the hotel, and I realized I couldn't see anybody in this meeting room square. I mean, I could see that there were bodies there, but I couldn't see who was who. So it is nice when people say who they are before they speak. If you have trouble focusing on Zoom, if the self view picture of yourself is on, You can turn that off. Some people find that distracting. I don't know how to do that, but we can figure it out, I'm sure. And just ask for help. We would like to use the chat for brief points or links. If there's something that you've talked about you want to drop in the chat, so we have that. Please put a photo on your Zoom profile. So when you do go off camera for whatever reason, we still know who you are. And please make sure your name is there. For whatever reason, sometimes when people go off camera, their name disappears as well. So if you can keep your picture and your name on there for times when you do feel like you need to turn your camera off, go ahead and do that. I think we have it set up here in the room so that whoever the speaker is always showing for us, right? Yeah, so when somebody's speaking, it pops to the top. But I think when you're on your own, there are certain settings you have to do to make sure you're able to see who's speaking. The next section talks about captioning, which we've had for a year. 2 years. Julie says 2 years. And I do catch myself sometimes reading the caption, even though I'm sitting right here. So I hope people find that helpful who are not here in person as well. Lisa Crandall gives it a big thumbs up. The next section talks about pre-work. You're always getting your materials ahead of time, which would give you time to review. There's a list that will tell you, here are the things that you need to be prepared to talk about when you come to the meeting. That also gives you the opportunity to go to a staff member, myself, anybody on the council. If you have questions or you don't really understand, why am I looking at this? What am I going to need to do with this information? So there's a lot of reasons why you're getting the materials ahead of time. And the staff does work really hard to make sure that stuff's done. We're going to talk about the foundations a little bit farther down, so we can skip that part. Onboarding and peer mentoring. As you guys know, we're getting ready to bring some new members on here in the near future. And that's been an ever improving process. So as part of the onboarding, we are going to implement where I will, whoever the chair is, will reach out to new members after their first 2 or 3 meetings with just a quick, how did it go? You know, do you need accommodations? As you can see, don't call on me or whatever. So we're going to try that. And then after those first 2 or 3 meetings, we will have peer mentoring available if people want that, if they feel like they really want to have somebody they can connect with outside of meeting times. It isn't going to be a formal thing where we will say, okay, new member Mary, you're hooked up with Allie. It'll be more of a person coming and saying, I really do need somebody that I can talk to ahead of time. I have a lot of questions. I don't really know what's happening. And then we can help them through that. Or, you know, sometimes in person, those things happen naturally because people have similar interests or live in the same area or whatever. So that's where we hope that will go. There's a lot of ITAC training videos available for some of the, what would you say, like the technology piece of things, the how meetings are run, those types of things. So those will be, you know, they've been available, but we will make sure people understand that those things are available as well. Let's see, meeting structure. I mean, this is not really anything new. We try to run, you know, by the agenda times, not go over. If we get to a point where the time is up, we, you know, move things to the parking lot to talk next time. motions, seconds, all of that, we do, the same way we've always done them. The change will be that we will check in with people before we're having a vote to make sure they don't have any questions. They don't have to have further discussion. Making space for relationship in person, if that happens with meal times, of course. We may consider having additional times when we have in-person meetings, and then online, we can always implement, a sharing time or an icebreaker question. And then sort of the meat of this whole thing, we are going to begin each meeting with this basic script explaining, here's what we're doing. We want the meetings to be inclusive. We want everyone to have their voice heard, understand what they're voting on, what's the point of what we're talking about. Cameras are preferred on, how you can engage, raise your hand, use the chat, say your name. We will have thinking time built in. Then we'll do that round robin to invite people to contribute something if they need to or ask a question. And always we will have captions. And then the Zoom etiquette card, this is just a little more detailed than what we talked about above. We're going to make sure people have this sent out with their materials next time, and then possibly make an actual hard copy, something that we can share with people as a reminder. We did the draft yesterday. We shared it with everyone. We are going to do a mentor profile form. EOC is working on that now, so people know who the current members are and what things they may have in common, or what areas of expertise a person might have that they might want to be their mentor. Next time, the meetings will start with the 60-second foundation, opener, the silence, and the round robin. And then after the next meetings, people will be asked privately what they thought, if they needed any additional accommodations, etc. And then after the next meeting is when we'll start the check-ins with the new members to see if they have anything after the meetings. We're also going to be capturing what people think about the new process, things you like, things you hate, whether that be personally, like I need you to not call on me, or just I don't think such and such worked and here's why. And so we can continue, working on this. So that was a lot of me talking. So now, questions, comments, input. I see a lot of beautiful faces. And thank you for that.
I'm excited about this. I think we need to get it together. Participate as much as we can, because we signed up to be here, and this is a very important job that we do, and not many people get this opportunity. So I think we need to really connect and appreciate that we're here and we can get to it.
Ellie was so excited. She knocked over her microphone. Yeah, mic drop. Totally. Oh my gosh. Okay. Did everybody catch what Allie shared? I know it was in the captions, but if anybody needs me to repeat any of it, please raise your hand. Is there anybody in the room that has something to say before, because we're going to make a motion to approve this, right? Accept
motion to implement recommendations.
a motion to implement these recommendations. So now is when we're discussing before we make a motion. Tony?
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, you brought up a great point that we may have had a gap in these recommendations for foundations and etiquette. From your own experience yesterday from a hotel room, you said it was not possible to see faces in the room. And so I know that a lot of folks have their cameras off that are in the room. And so it would be helpful for everyone, maybe as a recommendation, to turn their camera on. Is that something we can make a recommendation across the council and not just those that are outside of Jeff City, perhaps, that would help all of us to see each other and not just little dots in the room?
So people who have their laptops here, staff, typically the rest of us don't have a laptop in front of us. But we could, I guess, add something that said, I mean, like, I don't have a laptop now. So the only way you would see my face is if I rolled over in front of Emily's computer.
But you could have a laptop, correct?
I could.
Okay, that'd be helpful. That'd be great.
Well, because I have one, but that
Okay.
doesn't mean that everybody on the council would have a laptop. You know what I'm saying? Emily, can you chime in?
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to turn my camera on, Tony, but my
Sure.
thing is glitching out. So, yeah. So, I mean, there isn't tech equity in the room for everybody to have their camera on. I mean, we could still have it a preferred status in
And I
terms
think
of.
that's what we're saying in the foundation is a preferred. I mean, when
Yeah.
possible, or however we want to word that, but
Yeah.
it would be helpful across. And again, I think that it would just help everyone on the council to the best of our ability. You know.
Right. And so let me address the staff videos real quick because those are a separate issue. So staff typically have their camera off because it's not our meeting and it's a way to distance ourselves from decision making and leaning too much on staff for the meeting information. So we really typically are camera off unless we're on the agenda for something.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
One quick question before I go to the other two people with their hand up. When I first started on the council and we were in Columbia, we had that owl thing that would spin around and it would go to whoever was talking. We don't have that anymore. Okay. Okay. That's something that we can test too. And we can encourage people who on the council who do have a laptop, if they want to bring them and have them sitting in front of them, we'll just need to make sure like the sound isn't interfering and all of that, however you do that. Okay, I see Lisa, Nothouse, and Animesh. I don't know who raised their hand first. Animesh, why don't you go ahead? Oh, sorry.
Okay, I was just going to say, I think you touched on the owl thing, because I think I remember other meetings where we could see the meeting room and see everybody in the room, but I don't remember it spinning. So I didn't know if that was an option either. And I'm just going to say that sometimes the only format that my computer has an issue with from time to time happens to be Zoom. And every now and then it'll glitch out and just disconnect me for no reason. So that's why I cautiously sometimes leave my camera off because of that. Not because I don't, like you guys can watch me do whatever I'm doing here, but anyway, just giving you a heads up that if I get a low bandwidth or I'm an unstable message, then I will probably click my camera off just so I stay connected, hopefully. Just letting you know that. So is the owl thing, what am I on the right track with what you just referred to, being able to see everybody in the room?
Yeah, it is a thing that looks like an owl, and I think it somehow sensed who was talking. Maybe we had one for work too. Danielle,
I can speak of the owl real quick. This is Danielle. So I've been here since the owl back in Columbia. It's whatever staff member has it downloaded on their phone. They have access to hit the button, and the owl finds the person in the room speaking. So I do know Sarah, our old operations assistant, whom was with us prior, had it downloaded on her phone. So if she was doing other job duties to run the meeting, she couldn't navigate it with her phone in order to put it on the speaker. So it would be very hard to find one staff member, not presenting or doing something for the meeting in order to control it the whole entire time. Just my 2 cents on the owl.
Animesh, did you have something?
Yeah. So I think a couple of things. One of the points was about the owl thing. So I think that is being taken care of or not. So I won't touch on that. But I mean, I remember just this morning, or maybe yesterday, maybe this morning too. I mean, that we had the full view of the room. But right now, all I'm seeing is just that big block of MODDC. Even if it's not pointing to the speaker who is talking, I mean, just having the view of the room itself, that helps. So I know without OWL, it might not go to who is talking, but having the full view of the room also might be better than the blank screen that everybody is seeing. And so this goes back to what Tony was saying. Maybe if we have the full room, maybe not, we need everybody to have a laptop and it will serve the purpose, but just my thought.
At this moment, I think the video might have been turned off, which is why you were looking at the logo.
Okay. And it's completely black right now. So I don't know if you're waiting for something or if it's coming up. I don't know what's happening.
Hey, Nat, or I almost called you Nadia. Hey, Animesh, we're trying to figure out the camera situation in the room. So it's something in the room that's happening.
All right.
Okay. So is there any more discussion, questions? If not, I would like to have a motion to move forward with the recommendations.
Sanyal, I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Sanyal. Get a second?
This is Animesh. I make a second.
Okay. I got Allie and Animesh. Go in alphabetical order. Okay, and now we'll need a roll call, Tony.
All right, Allie, Animesh,
Approve.
Tony, approve. Rachel,
Approve.
Andrea,
Approved.
Ashley,
Approve.
Heather,
Approve.
Jelani,
Approve.
Kim,
Approve.
Leandra,
Approve.
Lisa Crandall,
Lisa Crandall approves.
Lisa Nothouse,
Approve.
Nadia, abstain. Sang Yeon, Scott Steelman,
Approve.
Steve Hodge.
Approve.
Okay, motion is approved.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks, everybody, for your work on that. And we'll see how it all goes. I think it's going to be good. We'll just be having to get used to it. I think I shared the rest of executive committee updates this morning. So next will be project development committee, Rachel.
Hi, everyone. Yesterday in PDC, we had a lot of discussion about future projects and what the council and what the committee wants to focus on. So our first discussion was on a subject that Ashley brought to our attention. It's called the Blue Envelope Program. It's where people with developmental disabilities or people that are on the spectrum or people that have, medical issues keep a piece of paper, informational piece of paper in their car. So when they get pulled over by the police or an emergency happens, they can pull out that piece of paper and hand it to the officer or person of emergency to explain to them what medical issues they may have, what disabilities they may have, what kind of communication styles they have. So those people have a better understanding on how to help that person. So our committee discussed whether or not we wanted to move forward with that, because right now in the state of Missouri, it is only known in certain counties. And so Ashley would like to see it throughout the state of Missouri. So she brought it to our attention. So I think we decided to go ahead and move forward if that is something that the whole council wants to do as project committee, project development. The next item that we talked about was self-advocacy. We have the option of making a self-advocacy project to help self-advocates in the group in the state, or have staff continue doing what they're doing, and that's MODDC staff bringing in options or possibilities for people with disabilities and self-advocates to learn how to self-advocate and practice those tools with MODDC staff and within the state. PDC decided to go ahead and just keep it on the staff level because we feel like right now we, as MODDC, we have enough projects going on and we don't want to overwhelm everybody and all of our project coordinators on MODDC staff with more projects with too many for them to handle. And then we talked about telehealth. I'm so sorry. I had to pause a second. We had talked about telehealth, and I think we are all familiar about the telehealth project that we just finished. And you guys had a presentation, I believe, back in March from somebody doing telehealth, and basically they put a couple options for us together to look over and review to extend telehealth in the state of Missouri and offering more options under telehealth for Missourians. So we looked at the two options and decided to extend that project, or to extend that project as in having it more available and turning other parts of that project into telehealth so it can better serve people with developmental disabilities. And from my anybody on PDC, if I have missed anything or if I did not make something clear, please speak up and help out. Emily, we didn't need any full council votes, did we?
Correct. You're good, Rachel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions on anything Rachel just said? Okay, next will be Allie with the EOC update.
We are in the process of interviewing new members. We interviewed 3 last month, the off-month meeting. We interviewed the person yesterday. And we plan to interview a few more next month. We have to send our recommendations to the governor by the end of June. So we hope to get that done next month. We also talked about we have to get a member from a non-profit agency on the council. So we were talking about non-profit agencies that might benefit the council, such as legal or medical or transportation agencies. And we decided to let Emily try to research some transportation agencies, and then we will try to choose from those. And I think that's it.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. Any comments for Allie? Questions? Concerns? Okay. Next will be LPP with Dr. Tony Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For our May meeting yesterday, we had some great discussion and presentation and a lot happening, but we do not have any full council recommendations for voting any topics today for us. But we did have a lot of focus on encouragement to build relationships with lawmakers as soon as possible, and definitely during off session here, which will start at the end of today and go for a few months here. So also stay tuned. Christine and I were discussing, and there's a plan to have a one-page update from the legislative session to recap the session in order to kind of do a wrap up from the session. And that will probably be after the governor has his final say here towards the end of June. So be looking for that in July once we know from the line item level what the governor's actions have been to the budget to and all the line item details. So more to come on that. We also, again, emphasize the upcoming coffee in Perryville on June 3rd. So I want to highlight that. There's one in the Kansas City area that we're working on for July 10th. And then we had the recommendation for Springfield and other areas. And I know Christina touched on that this morning as well in her update. So looking for additional volunteers across the state for those. So the final comment, and then I'll wrap up, is that there is the plan for some of us to travel to DC in September. There'll be more information on that, but it will be basically to have additional discussion around our priorities as a council, also to meet with some partner organizations such as the DC DD Council, as well as NACDD and others. So more to come on that, but I will yield the floor or open to questions. Thank you very much.
Any questions for Tony? Okay, Olmsted, Danielle.
Sangyeol. The Homestead committee met usually a week before, so we did last Thursday on Zoom, and so we didn't have a quorum, so we had to move to the full council this morning to approve the MODDC public statement about the lawsuit. We've been basically focus on this the 504 lawsuits, and the thank you for full council for the this morning, and we also had a header shared about the information about what happened with the partners in policymaking presentation. So we had they had a really good productive time at the policymaking class, and they did a really good job. And that's all I have to say today. And the Olmsted Committee will also continually follow up the lawsuits, and will give you more information about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. Any questions about that? Okay, we already did new business. I feel like we're really checking some stuff off this time. The 504 happened, the public comment, all of that. Okay. Next is staff and council member updates. Allie.
This is a resource for everyone. The Missouri Park Department has track chairs. I think they have 14 track chairs at state parks throughout the state. You can get on their website and you can call to reserve these giant, huge tank wheelchairs that can go off-roading or wherever. They're pretty cool, pretty scary, but I would highly recommend it, and it's pretty.
Thanks for sharing that, Allie. If you haven't gotten a chance to see the video of Allie driving this giant tank of a wheelchair at Elephant Rocks, you should find it. Have her share it with you because it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. So that is a resource that's free in this state. Emily.
I just wanted to share an opportunity with members of the council. Everybody's doing their state plan within the DD Council, and ITAC, who's our technical assistance entity, they actually facilitate a peer-to-peer review opportunity. So it's for council members or staff, where you would have to review at least two state plans. They offer an honorarium of $450 per plan. And it's time bound this summer, sometimes late August, early September. So if that's something that you're into, if you're really into the details of documents and want to learn more about the DD Act itself, it's a great opportunity. Our past chair, Diana, did that last time we did the 5-year state plan, and she really enjoyed it. So if you're interested in something like that, just reach out to me and I'll help connect you to the application.
Emily, do you mean you're reviewing other states' state plans?
So you won't review Missouri, but you might review like Montana or something. Yeah.
Gotcha. So Emily has the information to apply for that if you're interested. If you didn't catch the $450 per plan, I don't know. Who else? Anyone else have an update since our last meeting? Anything you wanted to share, make sure people know about? Tony?
Yeah, just an experience I had 3 weeks ago, maybe. I'll leave the names of the organizations out to protect those, but my son and his personal assistant were out at lunch while they were out working, and they spun through a drive-through, and the chicken fingers were not ready. So the person at the counter, or actually at the window of the drive-through, made the comment, said, "Sir, if you would just pull over into the accessible parking until your order is ready." I know everyone on this call sees a problem with that comment. And, they came home and shared that story. I called that restaurant and spoke with the manager. It was actually his very first day on the job, and he was unaware that someone had shared that with someone waiting on their food, that they actually pulled them into the accessible parking. So it was his first day, and he had his very first team meeting the next day, and so he was able to share that was not appropriate, and everything was rectified. But just a small example of awareness and advocacy I just wanted to share. So, thank you.
When you know better, you do better, right? I guess if he was never in that situation, I don't know. Hopefully he didn't get written up on his first day of work.
Well, it was not him. It was one of the employees, and he had no idea that employee had done that. So he was starting out on the right foot. He did the right thing all the way around.
Oh, boy. So. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Animesh.
You need to unmute.
Animesh, you're muted.
Ooh, okay. So, thank you. So yeah, first thing, this August at Real Voice, Real Choice, Anushka will be presenting. She's a presenter, so I'm really excited. I'll be assisting her, but it will be all her presentation. So I'm really excited. So Christina, if we plan to do the coffee at that table at Real Voice, Real Choice, as somebody commented in this morning, I mean, let me know because I'll be anyway there. So, all right. And the second thing, most important, I think this is my last council meeting. My term is expiring in June. So I really, really wanted to say I really enjoyed my 6 years at the council and learned a lot. I think this is a great place for advocacy and for everybody's rights. I'm sure I'll be continuing to do the work outside of the council, but reach out to me and stay connected.
And Amesh, this is Danielle. I was not aware and did not receive your treasurer resignation letter.
Okay, I can send you that. I mean, I didn't know. All right, so. All right.
Animesh, thanks for all your hard work. I think you started right before me. So,
Yep.
and I know our paths will cross again. I suspect someday your daughter will be on the council. She seems to be on the road.
Yeah, she is a partners graduate, and yeah, she needs a lot of support. But yeah, we'll get there.
Okay. Any other updates? Don't see any hands up. Anything in the chat? Nope. All right. I need a motion if people want to leave. Otherwise, we can sit here for 28 minutes.
Oh my God. I can't ever do this again. This is my last time I can make a motion to get out of here.
Allie's making a motion to get out of here. We need a second.
Take a second.
People are fighting over it. Yes, that was Danielle. Do we need a vote? Nope. Okay. Thank y'all.
Thank you, guys.
And
Thank you.
Thank you.